Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Naruto. Let the world feel pain from now on. Chapter 61. This white-haired ninja with the word forehead protector arrived at the gate of the Hot Spring Hotel. As Naruto expected, he did not enter through the front door. However, after a while, with his rich experience, Fang Jian found the direction to go to the female soup. Then, a wretched smile appeared on his face, and he headed towards the target position without hesitation. See no evil, don't listen to evil, understand? This is an old and disrespectful fellow. In the male soup, Naruto's face became cold. Even with that, the temperature in the air has dropped a lot. Several friends around him subconsciously cast their gazes at Naruto, and saw him raise his hand to take a photo, curling up an air current to bring a bathrobe over. Naruto standing on the hot spring water in a very short time. Put on your clothes. Wind style. Airflow operation. Wind style. Vacuum track. 8 inner gates. Hurt the door. Open. Sage mode. Kurama mode. Within a very short period of time, an orange eye shadow appeared at the corner of Naruto's eyes. His eyes turned into vertical fox pupils, and his body was also covered with golden chakras covered with jade and patterns, and there was chakra flowing crazily beyond the boundaries in his body. At the same time, the air in front of Naruto was evacuated in an instant, forming a tall vacuum channel. And these drawn air currents turned into accelerated air currents around Naruto's body. In the next instant, Naruto disappeared from everyone's sight. Only the two of Kakashi and Sasuke who turned on Sharingan can barely see a little afterimage. The disappeared Naruto, as if changing from form to shadow, appeared on the wall of the Hot Spring Hotel the moment it disappeared. Then, he kicked it out without hesitation. At the next moment, a white-haired ninja with the oil forehead protector appeared in front of Naruto's foot as if he had an appointment. Boom! The soles of the feet are in contact with the cheeks. The sour voice sounded. Before everyone knew what was going on, they saw a meteor shooting straight from the ground into the sky, and then disappeared in a flash. Until this time, the 5 little ones who were still soaking in the hot spring bath still did not react. Only Kakashi and Guy who have met Jiraiya reacted a little. The chakra breath just now, it seems to be Lord Jiraiya. Guy said uncertainly. Just now Naruto's movements were too fast, he only felt a little vaguely, and was beaten into the air. Kakashi affirmed Guy's guess, and said with a dull expression, well, the chakra just now is indeed Lord Jiraiya, and only he will go straight to the female soup. I hope he will not be beaten to death by Naruto. After all, he is also Kakashi's master. If he can, he still doesn't want to see Jiraiya being beaten. It's a pity that Naruto's movements were so fast that he didn't have time to stop it at all. 5 buffs were opened, airflow control to increase speed, vacuum track to eliminate air resistance, and 8 inner gates, Sage mode and Kurama mode that greatly increased power and speed. Such a Naruto has reached an unpredictable state when he stepped on it. Basically, it can be said that he is hitting who is going to die. If it weren't for the suspected person being Jiraiya, they wouldn't think that the other person might still survive. Because of Naruto's actions, the male soup still knew what happened, but the 3 girls in the female soup next door didn't know what happened from beginning to end. Of course, it is better not to know this kind of unpleasant experience. Brush. The water splashed slightly, and Naruto had soaked back into the hot spring again. At this time, apart from often practicing with Naruto, Sasuke knew his general strength. Choji, Ya, Shikamaru and Shino all looked at Naruto in shock. They knew that Naruto was very strong. After all, it was the 5th-year chief student who stably suppressed Sasuke from the elite Uchiha clan, but they didn't expect Naruto to be so strong. Unable to help, the 4 of them compared the speed at which Naruto broke out in that instant with the parents they knew best. However, they found that as the parents of the elite Jonin, they were not at the same level as the strength that burst out in a glimpse of Naruto just now. Unexpectedly, a trace of heavy pressure emerged in the hearts of the 4 of them. Even the laziest Shikamaru, at this time also a little eager to become stronger. There are many powerhouses in this world, but they are too far away for them as children. And now, a person of the same age around him is so strong that this is where they feel the pressure. Naruto, who had just soaked in the hot spring, heard the conversation between Kakashi and Guy, and said in a calm tone, it is indeed Jiraiya. With his ability to resist, he will die to death, but it is unavoidable to feel uncomfortable for a while. After a pause, Naruto said again, "Besides, I didn't use my full strength. Most of it was soft energy." Kakashi curiously asked, "Naruto, how do you know Lord Jiraiya? You probably haven't met him." Including Sasuke, the other four little ones also cast their curious eyes on Naruto. Sanin's Jiraiya, but Konoha's hero, their deeds were written into the teaching materials of the ninja school and widely promoted. Because of this, everyone knows about his strength, but no one has seen him in person. In such a short period of time, how did Naruto distinguish Jiraiya and show mercy? When my mother was dying, she specifically mentioned Jiraiya to me and told me not to approach him. Naruto briefly explained. Moreover, this person actually wanted to spy on the girl in front of him, but Loli, who was just 11 years old, his first impression became a negative number directly. If he didn't know that he was an elder, Naruto would just kick him to death by a stranger. But even so, Naruto taught him a profound lesson. Listening to Naruto's words, several people couldn't help but wipe the sweat from their foreheads. Kakashi smiled awkwardly, trying to calm down. Actually, Mr. Jiraiya is still very stable at the critical moment. He is a man and elder who has a role to make people feel at ease, but he is a little uncomfortable at ordinary times, so. Naruto interrupted. I know he is an elder, otherwise I won't keep my hands. Seeing this, Kakashi did not speak decisively. He has tried his best to restore the image of Jiraiya, but Naruto is an opinionated person, and he can't help it as much as he can. Chatting, soaked for a while. The group walked out of the hot spring happily, put on their clothes and went to the prepared private room. The female soup also came out at about the same time. Next, it's time to enjoy the food. 3 months ago, Jiraiya received a letter from 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. He was recalled back to Konoha village and served as the guardian of Naruto. After Naruto graduated from the ninja school, Jiraiya was allowed to travel with Naruto. 2 years ago, Jiraiya had this idea, but Sarutobi Hiruzen firmly rejected it. But now, the other party suddenly changed his mind, making Jiraiya overjoyed. At this moment, he is tracing Orochimaru's whereabouts, and he did not stay too much when he was summoned. After spending a while to deal with the finishing touches in his hands, Jiraiya walked back and forth towards Konoha village. Although Jiraiya as a ninja is very fast, it doesn't take long to get back to the village, but it took a lot of time to collect materials along the way, making Jiraiya only return to Konoha village until today. Without rushing to find Naruto, Jiraiya first confirmed with Sarutobi Hiruzen about Naruto's current situation. I learned that this junior has been working hard in recent years, and even mastered the power of 9 tails, and has successfully turned on the 9 tails chakra mode. Recently, he is constantly developing and testing new S-level ninjutsu. Not only that, 3rd Hokage also announced the true identity of Naruto, clarifying the rumors circulating over the years. This situation made Jiraiya very happy, proud of Naruto's progress, and gratified for the change in Naruto's situation. But because of this, Jiraiya's expression became cold because the teacher changed his mind and asked him to take care of Naruto. So, you messed up yourself, telling me to come back and clean up the mess. In Hokage's office, Jiraiya looked at the old man sitting in Hokage's position with a kind smile on his face, and asked coldly. Although what Sarutobi Hiruzen said is very brief, Jiraiya still extracted the key information from these words, and then inferred the purpose of Sarutobi Hiruzen calling him back. Facing Jiraiya's questioning, Sarutobi Hiruzen just smiled bitterly and said nothing. You are old, so you should pass the Hokage position to Kakashi as soon as possible, or get Tsunade back. Sooner or later you will create more darkness and tragedy. This is my advice to you as a disciple. Quote, I will take care of Naruto, but I will not agree if you want to use Naruto. After that, Jiraiya turned and walked out of Hokage's office. Then, walk quickly in the direction of the hot spring hotel that Sarutobi Hiruzen told him before. His goal, Naruto, went to this place for dinner at this moment. Along the way, Jiraiya was also thinking about how to make a good relationship with Naruto in the future. I heard from the teacher that Naruto is a more rational and intelligent character, so I will directly explain my identity to him, and then express my sincerity, otherwise it is easy to be self-defeating and cause misunderstanding. After making a decision in mind, Jiraiya finally rushed to the hot spring hotel. Looking at this super luxurious decoration, Jiraiya instantly fell into trouble. For such a luxurious hot spring hotel, it must be the dignitaries as well as their beautiful noble wives and daughters. Well, before you see Naruto, let's feast your eyes on the new work. Moreover, Naruto is also a boy who is about to enter puberty. After that, I will share some experience with him in collecting materials, and I think there should be a common topic. Quote. Thinking in his mind, he did not hesitate to walk in the direction of Envy Tang. With anticipation, Jiraiya wanted to cross the wall in front of him and go to the holy place in his heart. Then, when he just jumped up, he saw a figure shrouded in golden light, with a noble temperament like a fairy suddenly appeared on the wall, looking at him with a particularly indifferent look. Facing the kick that came over at the same time, feeling the terrifying speed and power, even though he had subconsciously used chakra to protect his body, there was still no sense of security in his heart. My life is over. This thought came to mind, and Jiraiya saw clearly the face of the man who worked on him. Is it Naruto? It's really like Minato. It has indeed become very strong, but one of my dignified Sanins was kicked to death by my own disciple because of voyeurism. It was really embarrassing to be thrown home. I want to replace Uchiha's genocide headlines and become the biggest joke in 10 years. Quote. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to confess to Tsunade, and I haven't been able to bring Orochimaru back to Konoha. It's a shame. In a short period of time, many memory fragments and thoughts flashed through Jiraiya's mind like a revolving lantern. It's just that, after all, this can't stop Naruto's arrival. The soles of the feet are in contact with the cheeks. The expected sharp pain came into my mind along the cheek. The next moment my head will be kicked away, and my body will branch out into the house, right? Jiraiya just thought about this, and realized that the remaining strength enough to blow his whole person into pieces turned out to be soft strength, without causing any further harm to him, and flying directly to him. It crossed a very long distance very fast, and after drawing a parabola, it fell from the air. Boom! In a forest 3 kilometers away from the hot spring hotel, Jiraiya is inlaid into a huge boulder in the shape of large characters. At this moment, his injury was not serious, but his whole body was numb, as if his whole body fell apart. And this situation is obviously not accidental. Does Naruto recognize me? So he kept his hands, but as a prying punishment, I must hang up here for a day to regain my mobility. Take care of his dissatisfaction. After landing, Jiraiya checked his physical condition and smiled bitterly. Such chakra control ability, he had only seen Tsunade once, but he did not expect that Naruto is better than Blue nowadays. However, Naruto, you underestimated my recovery ability as a fairy. A smile appeared at the corner of Jiraiya's mouth, and he bit his lip and turned it into a summoning technique under the control of chakra. Boom! The smoke exploded. Toad Sage, Fukasaku and Shima were brought out by Jiraiya summoning. When the two toads appeared, they looked at Jiraiya's miserable situation, and they were all surprised. Little Jiraiya, who beat you like this? Naturally, Jiraiya would not recount the shameful deeds that happened to him just now. He smiled bitterly and said, a lot of things have happened. Anyway, let me enter Sage mode first. I want to recover my body quickly, and then go to a party. All right. The two Toad Sages looked at each other and saw that Jiraiya didn't want to say anything, so they didn't question them either. They jumped onto Jiraiya's shoulders to help him draw natural energy into Sage mode, and use Sage mode's powerful resilience to restore his body. In the hot spring hotel, when Naruto and his party sat down in the private room, the super luxurious and high-end meals were just presented by the maids. The brand new Jiraiya opened the door and appeared in front of everyone, smiling casually, hello everyone. Seeing Jiraiya who suddenly appeared, the three girls still had no reaction. The men looked at Jiraiya who appeared casually, but their eyes were a little weird. Is it true that Jiraiya is one of Sannin? Not only is he strong, but he has a thick skin. Ha ha ha, Lord Jiraiya, long time no see. Kakashi smiled awkwardly and said hello. Guy also said hello, good evening, Lord Jiraiya. The three girls also reacted at this time, and they also knew Jiraiya's reputation. I ignored Naruto's cold eyes. Jiraiya greeted Kakashi, Guy and Xiaoqiang in turn, and then unceremoniously squeezed to sit next to Naruto, and the maid on the side gave Jiraiya a new set of tableware with a wink. Hello, Naruto, I'm Jiraiya, your father's teacher, and I'm here to visit you this time. Jiraiya greeted Naruto with no strange expression on his face. Naruto looked cold, but still politely responded, "Hello, I know you are Jiraiya, but my mother once told me not to let me play with you." I didn't understand why she said that before, but now I probably understand. NS. For Jiraiya, Naruto's senses are a bit complicated. On the one hand, the image of a good master who passed on will in ninjutsu to him in the comics, on the other hand, is the shame of being disrespectful in reality, which makes Naruto extremely uncomfortable. Comics can always only serve as a reference and cannot fully correspond to reality. In short, it's like Kakashi, let's get along with it for a while. In this way, we can see the true state of her heart clearly. Jiraiya was not angry at Naruto's unabashed contempt. He touched his nose and ridiculed himself. This is really like Kushina's style. It's only based on materials. It's really just based on materials. After all, I am a writer. Since you don't like Naruto, then I won't do this kind of thing in the future. Quote. People are complicated, even though Jiraiya's hobby is voyeurism. But now he appears as the image of an elder, and since the younger generation clearly expresses his dislike, then he will behave like an elder should be. Seeing this, Naruto reduced his cold expression and nodded in recognition of Jiraiya's decision. The three girls Hinata, Ino and little Sakura were a little curious listening to the conversation between Naruto and Jiraiya. They didn't know the nature of Jiraiya, so naturally they didn't understand the meaning of their words. But the men who knew it had no meaning to explain. In short, let's save some face for Jiraiya as an elder. Then, let's have dinner. Naruto glanced at the large table full of food that had come up, flying from the sky, swimming in the sea, and running on the ground. The content is extremely rich, plus the chef's cooking, it makes people have a big appetite at a glance. Open. Having said that, Naruto took out his chopsticks and immediately caught a piece of king crab meat. In the small circle, Naruto has the highest status. When he sees him moving his chopsticks, the others are not reserved, and start to feast on them. While eating and drinking, the children drank beverages, while the adults drank alcohol. Soon, under Jiraiya's deliberately active atmosphere, everyone at the table became more and more harmonious. Including Naruto, all were extremely interested in the stories that Jiraiya told about taking place in various places in the ninja world. At this time, Jiraiya really looks like an elder in seriousness. It was also during this process that Hinata was eating food silently. With the occasional help from Naruto, she ate food very happily. As time passed, everyone except Hinata was full, and gradually put down the chopsticks in their hands and watched Hinata sweep the food on the table with a quick but decent gesture. Fortunately, the waitresses are constantly serving dishes, but Hinata won't have to eat. If Hinata before was surrounded by so many people, I am afraid it would be easy to stop eating because of embarrassment. At home, in order not to be ridiculed by this factor, she also only eats the same amount of food as her father. Just this, it already makes people feel that Hinata's appetite is amazing. However, about 3.5 months ago, when Naruto came to visit her at home, when she personally cooked and invited Hinata to eat, she deliberately observed Hinata's meal and found that she was deliberately restraining. Under questioning, she found that she was always like this, restraining her appetite. I just barely fill my stomach to maintain daily consumption, and I haven't really eaten enough. At that time, Naruto persuaded Hinata. Chakra is extracted from physical strength and spiritual strength, and the source of physical strength and spiritual strength is food, so if you want to become stronger, you can eat as much as you want. What you eat is the best. After the persuasion was over, he finally concluded, it is blessing to be able to eat. This remark made Hinata, who has been restraining himself and worried about being ridiculed by Naruto, suddenly opened his eyes and asked, really? After getting Naruto's affirmative answer, Hinata has completely let go of himself since then and is not restrained. As a result, Hinata's daily food intake is far more than twice that of ordinary people, and it has increased by 20 times. The amount of food consumed every day is astonishing. Even Naruto and Sasuke, who perform overweight physical intensive training every day, have a feeling of sigh. But also thanks to this, Hinata's chakra volume began to show an extremely alarming growth rate. Not only that, her Byakugan's pupil power is also starting to increase rapidly. If the previous Hinata was just an ordinary genius who surpassed Neji, then the Hinata after this has already gained momentum towards Naruto and Sasuke. For this change, Naruto also anticipated. After all, Hinata has the title of Princess Byakugan, and even the ancestor of the Hyuga family, Hamura, affirmed the purity of Hinata's Byakugan. Now that there is sufficient energy supply, it is only natural that the body begins to evolve rapidly. This also made Hyuga Hiyashi, who was distressing her daughter too much to eat, laughed a little bit from ear to ear. Then, very generous, took a large part of the income she got from the hot spring hotel as Hinata's pocket money, so that she could eat whatever food she wanted. Naruto and Sasuke have become accustomed to Hinata's appetite. The other people at the same table were a little dumbfounded. Even Choji from Akamaiki's family can only bow down to such a Hinata. Even if they invite the fat man who can eat the most in Akamaiki's family, facing such a big stomach Queen Hinata, it is nothing. So, in the second half of the banquet, everyone enthusiastically helped Hinata prepare vegetables for her to eat, and see how much food she could eat in the end. Only Sasuke, who was responsible for paying the bill, twitched at the corner of his eyes. If I knew it, Naruto was forbidden to bring Hinata, the big stomach queen. But now, they can only say nothing. When paying, Rao never cared about money Sasuke, but also felt the pain of emptying his wallet. Had it not been for this store that he had shares and enjoyed a discount, it would have been even more painful. It's not that I haven't eaten with Hinata before, but I've never had a meal like this one. Not only are you edible, but all of them are delicacies made from expensive and high-end ingredients. Unless necessary in the future, you should never take Hinata with you when you treat guests. When signing the order, Sasuke silently made up his mind that all the money would be deducted from his dividends. After eating and drinking, everyone chatted for a while, and then separated. It's not that you can't stay in the hot spring hotel, but there are many children in the group, which is not suitable for staying at night, so in the end everyone chose to go home. Naruto sends Hinata to the door of her house, not wanting to face Byakugan from her family. So he declined the invitation to go in for tea and take a look at the cute little Hanabi, then turned and walked towards his home. Unsurprisingly, Naruto saw Jiraiya waiting on the side of the road not far from home. Yo, Jiraiya raised his hand to say hello. Naruto nodded slightly as a response. Naruto, would you like to take in a homeless old man? Jiraiya didn't mind Naruto's indifference, and he leaned over and smiled. Your house in Konoha hasn't been taken away, right? You can live in after a few cleanings. Naruto's voice remained cold, stabbing Jiraiya. Although we had a meal together and talked a lot, Naruto became more serious about Jiraiya, who had become an elder, not as disgusted as she was at the beginning, but she was still very upset. When I was young, when I was sad and lonely, where were you? Is it coming out now? Although Naruto knew in his heart that Jiraiya also had things and difficulties he had to do and had no obligation to take care of him, he still couldn't help but feel that way. Although it is a bit wrong to think so, in Naruto's eyes, Jiraiya, who did not appear when he needed it most, is actually not much different from those of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Today, is he really unable to change Konoha's view of himself, improve his situation, and make a lot of friends? The easiest way is to attract a large number of enemies to Konoha, and then come out to save the world. It's just a show. After reading so many books, this method is still available. It's just that he doesn't want to, and doesn't bother it. His love does not belong to the public, but only to those whom he recognizes. Now, he has become stronger and has the ability to support himself. Even if Jiraiya appears, what can be changed? Hearing Naruto stabbed him, Jiraiya was not angry, but smiled bitterly. Naruto, are you complaining about me? I complained that I didn't appear earlier, and did not appear in your life until now when nothing can change. Before Naruto could answer, Jiraiya went on to say, I admit that I am not a person with enough responsibility. I am unwilling to take over as Hokage. I was not willing to take care of you as your guardian when you were young. I didn't find you earlier live in pain. However, this is not my intention. Third Hokage will send me your latest photos every 6 months. In the photos, you look very energetic, you are well dressed, your complexion is ruddy, and you are tall. I thought that Third Hokage took good care of you. I didn't know the truth until 2 years ago, but I was unable to reject Hokage's will and could not take you away and take care of you personally. Quote. The more I talked about it, the more bitter Jiraiya felt, and the sensation felt like a knife in his throat. As long as he thinks that Naruto has been ignored by everyone over the years, even if the identity of the son of fourth generation has not been changed now, he is full of anger. He and Tsunade have been wandering outside these years and are reluctant to return to the village. There is no reason why they are dissatisfied with the village and their teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen. What I say now may be a little bit of suspicion to shirk responsibility, but I sincerely hope that you can grow up happily and healthily, rather than suffering like the present one. Naruto, let me take care of you from now on. I will take you away from Konoha, leave this disgusting environment, and take you to travel around the world. I will take all the ninjutsu I know, including the most important summoning beast. The scrolls are passed on to you. You have an outstanding ninja talent. With me as your teacher, you will surely become a great power in the future. When you grow up, you may be as strong as first Hokage before. I don't ask you to protect Konoha. As long as you don't take action on this place where your father has devoted his life, then I will support you in whatever you do. Looking at the indifferent Naruto, Jiraiya sincerely stated his most true thoughts. At this moment, he has made up his mind to stop following the will of his teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen. He didn't want to wait for Naruto to graduate from the ninja school. He didn't want to wait for a moment and took Naruto out of this place. Naruto looked at Jiraiya, who was bitter but sincere, and understood his determination at the moment. It is never words that move people, but sincere feelings. Looking at Jiraiya quietly, Jiraiya is also looking at each other without evasiveness. At this moment, he has a clear conscience. After a while, Naruto withdrew his gaze, his indifference relieved a little. It's just that the decision to destroy this place that I had already made in my heart was not shaken by Jiraiya's words. I won't leave the village now, my friends, and all my properties are here. Moreover, what I need now is not to travel everywhere, but to practice step by step, so that I can become strong enough. Naruto opened his mouth, narrating his own thoughts, not resisting Jiraiya, and initially accepted his existence in his heart. As he said, part of the properties arranged in the village was because he was really short of money, and a large part was made by him for the people in the village. The purpose is to hide the most true thoughts in my mind and to gain enough time for my own development. He is not a person who likes to speak ruthlessly. He advocates the kingly way of doing nothing but moving, and sweeping all the haze with grandeur. In his daily life, he is also implementing this concept. Then, stay with me first. Naruto took his arm and walked into the house. Then he turned around, his face melted indifferently, and smiled, "Welcome home, Ms. Jiraiya." Seeing Naruto like this, Jiraiya's congested emotions cleared up a lot and revealed a heartfelt smile. How long has it been since his disciples passed away one after another and Orochimaru rebelled against the village? He has never been so happy. At this moment, this new disciple named Naruto once again brought sunshine to his soul. I am back. The next day, the practice continued. Jiraiya woke up a rare early morning, and enthusiastically followed Naruto to the waterfall. Come on, little Naruto, sign your name on this scroll, and let me teach you summoning. In this way, you can have one more combat partner from Mount Myoboku, the holy land of summoning beasts. With your chakra from Naruto, you can also practice Toad's celestial art and become an immortal like the teacher me, which greatly increases your strength. My last disciple was also your father, Namikaze Minato, who was also a contractor of Mount Myoboku. Next to the waterfall, watching Naruto, who was warming up after a pile of shadow clone was divided, Jiraiya took out the huge scroll that was behind him, and opened his mouth proudly. At this moment, he is already looking forward to the admiration and expectant eyes from this little disciple. But the fact is, Naruto's reaction is extremely cold. Glancing at Jiraiya, Naruto offered Kurama as a shield, pointed to his stomach and said, "This guy is awkward and won't let me sign a blood contract with other summoning beasts." After a pause, Naruto entered Sage Mode and said, "And I already know Sage Mode, Kurama taught me." With the knowledge given to him by his father Namikaze Minato and his mother Kushina, it also emptied all the accumulation of a Kakashi and a guy for more than 20 years. Coupled with Kurama's daily guidance and the information he learned from the manga, Naruto does not need others to give instructions. What is needed is just getting stronger step by step. His name is Teacher Jiraiya, out of respect for him, and he doesn't really want to learn anything from him. After all, there are only a few people in this world who are really good to him. In the sealed space, Kurama kicked the Naruto shadow clone who was sitting on the sofa beside him reading a book, expressing his dissatisfaction with him for using himself as a shield. This exploded shadow clone has accomplished its mission very well. Naruto from the outside world got the memory and pain that came back, and when he pointed to his stomach, the corner of his mouth twitched. Jiraiya on the side saw all this in his eyes. I thought it was the vixen in Naruto's stomach that was awkward, but I didn't suspect that Naruto was fooling him. It's just a weird whisper to herself. Kushina never said that Jinchuriki can't sign a contract with other summoning beasts. It's because your relationship with Nine Tails has improved, so he is jealous, afraid that you will have other summoning. Ignore it as a beast. In an instant, Jiraiya was relieved. No wonder that day, Naruto actually kicked him at the speed that he could react to. This Sage Mode practice was far more powerful and perfect than him, and there was not much evidence of alienation. Since Nine Tails is helping Naruto wholeheartedly, and he has also learned Sage Mode, it is not a big deal not to sign a blood contract with Mount Myoboku. However, Jiraiya was not discouraged. Then, let me teach you how to practice ninjutsu. Jiraiya eagerly said again. Then, he began to report to Naruto what he knew of ninjutsu. This time, Naruto gave Jiraiya face, and did not refuse his thriving desire for preaching and teaching. Jiraiya does have a lot of ninjutsu here that he hasn't learned. For example, the series of ninjutsu using hair, the needle jizo, the messy lion hair technique, the fire style ninjutsu, the earth style ninjutsu, and the application of fairy skills and natural energy that Naruto has never learned. Although it is not very useful, it can also enrich his knowledge reserves in this area and save a lot of extra time for self-exploration. 3 people, there must be my teacher Yan, nothing more than that. Another shadow clone was divided and asked him to follow Jiraiya to learn ninjutsu, and Naruto began physical intensive training. You just share a shadow clone. Jiraiya was a little dissatisfied, thinking that Naruto was underestimating him. With the amount of ninjutsu he knows, if he wants to learn all of them, the amount of chakra for a shadow clone is far from enough. In Jiraiya's view, even if Naruto has outstanding ninja talents, it would take at least a year to learn all of his ninjutsu, and it would take chakra to have a more abundant body. This estimate is still based on his constant listening to third generation and Kakashi to brag about Naruto's talent. He himself mastered this ninjutsu, and it took more than 10 years. Kakashi on the side heard the conversation between the two, and a gloating smile appeared on his face hidden under the mask. Kakashi couldn't help but think of the scene when Naruto and Sasuke were learning ninjutsu with him a few months ago. It was simply a devastating blow to him, who thought he was the ceiling of a genius ninja. Master Jiraiya, you really don't know anything about genius. Kakashi whispered in his heart, but didn't remind Jiraiya. When Kakashi was practicing the ceiling technique, he would occasionally look at the two of them during breaks, and waited enthusiastically to watch Jiraiya make a fool of himself. Well, shadow clone is enough. Kurama will provide me with chakra to practice ninjutsu. Naruto didn't want to bother with Jiraiya, and gave a non-convincing reason. Anyway, the facts would prove everything. Jiraiya was so angry that Naruto felt that Naruto had such strength at a young age, and he became a little erratic. HMPH, let you take a bit of a blow, so that you will obediently do what I said. Jiraiya muttered to himself, and then chose a secret technique that is extremely difficult to learn, which he taught Naruto. Needle jizo is a secret technique that stimulates the growth of hair and attacks the enemy. Because it is a physical change, it belongs to the category of Yong-yun. The main point of practicing this ninjutsu is to have a certain talent for Yongdun and have a strong chakra control ability. Naruto listened to Jiraiya's speech, and after giving it a demonstration, he thought for a moment. After that, Jayan, in Jiraiya's stunned expression, successfully used the mature needle jizo that was not inferior to Jiraiya. Okay, learned, next one. Naruto looked at Jiraiya and spoke calmly. 3 days later, Jiraiya joined the Autistic Alliance formed by Kakashi and Guy. Jiraiya, who made efforts to catch up with Orochimaru in the later stage, has always believed that hard work can defeat genius. But now, he found that this sentence might be a bit wrong. Because geniuses can work hard. Although it is a bit wrong to say that, Jiraiya really understands it at this moment. Sometimes the gap between people is bigger than the gap between people and dogs. Fortunately, this is my student, who has also learned from me. A teacher who is better than a teacher is the most proud of a teacher. Jiraiya comforted himself so that he became like Kakashi when he was hollowed out. As a teacher, the only thing left is to impart to the younger generation the rich life experience as an elderly person. Jiraiya is an open-minded person. Although he was shocked by Naruto's extraordinary talents at first, he accepted the reality after a while. If it were when he was young, he might still have the mind to chase and surpass Naruto, just like when he was competing with Orochimaru Tsunade when he was young. And now Jiraiya has reached the age of knowing the destiny, and he knows the fact that his strength has reached a ceiling. After teaching all the ninjutsu that Naruto knows, Jiraiya no longer stays beside Naruto by Tenten, and continues to lead his daily life of writing and prostitution in the ninja world. Only occasionally, I would take the time to talk to Naruto about some of what he saw and heard in the ninja world. And Naruto is living his own life as always. Practice, study, rest, practice. In this way, it repeats itself again and again. Until, one day 6 months later. Next to a lake a distance from the waterfall, Sasuke is practicing his own S-level ninjutsu, lightning style. Kirin. With the launch of ninjutsu, Sasuke produced the fire style at a dazzling speed. Howlong fire technique, using the principle of updraft to create a thunderstorm, and then launched Chidori to use himself as a lightning rod. Towing thunder and lightning. Under Sasuke's control, the vast natural power transformed into a huge unicorn look. Then, the unicorn's sumo wrestled out and blasted into the lake in front of him. Boom! The explosion sounded, the current in the air overflowed, sizzling, and the smell of the air after it was scorched. Because there are lakes to withstand the dense thunder, this unicorn seems to have a mere appearance and did not cause much damage, but if it is changed to a different place, this blow will be enough to completely razing a large area of buildings to the ground. Sasuke frowned, dissatisfied with this technique. To practice the ninjutsu of Kirin, only Sasuke's body can do it. Shadow Clone cannot withstand the power of heaven and earth. Due to Gai's teaching physical skills, Sasuke's time to perfect the Kirin practice was delayed by 3 months. During the past 6 months, with the help of Naruto's Shadow Clone to create thunderstorms in the first 3 months, he has already mastered the ability to control the power of heaven and earth. In the last 3 months, Sasuke has practiced without the assistance of Naruto, and independently displayed the entire ninjutsu completely and quickly. This practice continues until now. Generally speaking, Sasuke has been able to bring out the power of the lightning style. Kirin. But only he himself knew that his control of this ninjutsu was still very rough. Although it could be used completely, it did not maximize the power of this technique. In the final analysis, my perception ability is not enough. If my Sharingan can evolve to a level, the dynamic vision improvement it brings should help me see the flow of all lightning perfectly. In this way, I can perfectly guide all the thunder and lightning to attack the enemy and achieve the greatest power. It has been more than 4 years since Sharingan was turned on, but my pupil power has not been able to successfully break through to the level of 3-Go Jade. Thinking in mind, Sasuke clenched his fists unwillingly. Go ask Naruto. Maybe he has a way to help me solve this problem, improve Sharingan's pupil power, or something else. Thinking about this, Sasuke calmed his breath. Then, in the woods, he found a Naruto shadow clone who was practicing Flying Thunder God technique. After listening to Sasuke's question, Naruto said without hesitation, "It's actually very simple to solve the problem you mentioned. Surgery. Teacher Jiraiya taught me this secret technique. I have the same ability to use chakra to perceive the outside world like my Kagura Minai, but I need to seal. It is not difficult for you to learn chakra perception, but it is very difficult to apply it to the unicorn instantly without printing. Maybe, when you do this, Sharingan's pupil power will naturally increase to the level of a 3-Go Jade." Quote. When Sasuke heard this, his heart was cold. Is it true that we can only wait for the pupil power to evolve? If you can't continue to make rapid progress, you will definitely be thrown by Naruto to the point where you can't even see the shadow. I finally developed my own S-rank ninjutsu, and finally I have the hope of catching up with Naruto. Why did it become like this? At this time, I heard Naruto continue to say, "So, let's find a way to improve Sharingan's pupil power. I recently studied a lot of information about Sharingan, but I thought of a way to help you break through. The rate is over 95%. When Sasuke heard the words, the disappointment in his heart dissipated instantly, and he looked at Naruto in surprise. "Come on, sit cross-legged and stretch out your hand." Naruto found an open space to sit down, and then motioned to Sasuke to sit across from him. The two raised their hands, fists facing each other. Then, Sasuke felt that the scene in front of him changed, and he came to an empty space exuding soft lights. Slightly looking around, Sasuke saw the TV, coffee table, sofa, and game console. In addition, there is a half-human Nine-Tails little fox, with one arm propped on his head, reclining on the sofa and watching TV lazily, not caring about Naruto and Sasuke who come in. "Is this the Nine-Tails living in your body?" Sasuke glanced at the house fox on the sofa and asked curiously. According to the legend, most of Konoha was destroyed, with the title of the strongest tail beast, which led to their Uchiha being isolated by the village. There is no match with the legend. Nodding slightly, he answered Sasuke's question. "Get up, stop watching TV, let's come to 3 rows." Naruto paused the TV, picked up Kurama from the sofa, and took Sasuke to the corner of the entertainment room in front of 3 highly configured computers. Then, Naruto turned on the computer and clicked on the game called League of Legends. Kurama, who wanted to go back to watch TV, suddenly became interested. "This game is really fun, and the more people, the more fun. He doesn't want to watch TV now." Naruto directed Sasuke to sit down in front of the computer, help him turn on the computer, and start teaching him some basic League of Legends operations. In the end, he said to Sasuke very seriously, "From now on, you will start playing this game intently. When you get to the strongest king rank, your Sharingan pupil power will be beyond your imagination. Progress. Remember, this is an extremely important practice, and it must not be abandoned halfway." Quote. Naruto's tone was serious, and Sasuke also became serious subconsciously. As his best and only friend, Naruto has been helping him all the time. And Sasuke trusts Naruto from the bottom of his heart. Since Naruto said that after hitting this game's ranking to the strongest king, he can break through the current limit and obtain even stronger pupil power, then it must be impossible to lie to him. For this reason, Sasuke at this moment has temporarily put all the rest of his distracting thoughts behind him, and has devoted his mind to this game called League of Legends. He has decided that he must complete this practice to meet Naruto's requirements. Not only to obtain stronger pupil power, but also to repay Naruto's trust and prove that he did not misunderstand himself. With this mood, Sasuke began to understand the gameplay of this 5v5 tower push game called League of Legends. The effects of various equipment and runes, as well as the hero's skill mechanism, are all quickly being used by Sasuke, learned by heart. After Naruto and Kurama took him to play a few man-machines in Zuin District, Sasuke gradually became familiar with the game. Then, your first small goal next is to raise your level to 30, and then go to start qualifying, and I'm going to continue practicing. Naruto smiled, got up and left in front of the computer. What Kurama hates most is the Uchiha family. It's okay to have Naruto here. At this moment, when Naruto is gone, he doesn't want to play for an instant. Normally, if it weren't for Naruto's request, he wouldn't be willing to give that Uchiha kid the yang attribute chakra to restore his body. So, at this moment, he did not hesitate to put down the mouse and keyboard, jumped back to the sofa, and started sleeping. But Sasuke, after responding, began to concentrate on playing man-machines to familiarize himself with the game, and at the same time summarized and refined his own technical and tactical ideas. This game is quite easy to get started, but I don't know how strong the opponents ranked after level 30 are. Sasuke thought in his heart, and devoted himself to the game. Next to the waterfall, Naruto, who had just finished his physical intensive training, was resting suddenly and rolled all over the floor with a smile. The reason is that it naturally received the memory from Shadow Clone. Naruto had long thought about how to open Sasuke's eyes, but he didn't expect that this work would be snatched by Shadow Clone, but it was the same as his own wishes. On his shoulders, a group of red chakra surged and condensed into a head-sized nine-tails little fox. After a long absence, Kurama actually came to the outside world. Looking at Naruto, who was rolling on the floor laughing and rolling, he curiously asked, "Since you brought that Uchiha kid in, I felt your strong malice. What do you want to do to that Uchiha kid?" After laughing enough, Naruto sat up and held the small, cute Kurama in front of him. Then, with a slightly uncontrollable smile on his face, he said, "Just like what I said before, help him improve his pupil power." Seeing that Kurama was still puzzled, Naruto began to explain in detail. Combining the manga and the materials that have been consulted in reality, as well as the two ready-made templates of Kakashi and Sasuke, Naruto's understanding of Sharingan has reached a very high level. Sharingan is a portrayal of the soul. There are many ways to open and evolve the details of the process, but it is a very simple sentence in summary. Get love and lose love. In the process of getting love and losing love, the emotions of the Uchiha people become fierce and boiling, which stimulates the brain to secrete a powerful chakra, which stimulates the opening and evolution of Sharingan. From 1 Go Jade Sharingan, to 2 Go Jade Sharingan, 3 Tomo Sharingan, Mangekyo Sharingan, everything is like this. And if it is not stimulated, then the evolution of Sharingan will require a long period of practice and accumulation. The degree to which Sharingan can be turned on is related to the quality of this eye-opening Uchiha tribe. Just like Sasuke in the comics, he was stimulated by the extermination to open a double hook jade and a single hook jade, totaling 3 Tomos Sharingan. In reality, Sasuke, who has a stronger body and spirit after following Naruto for more intense practice, already has 4 Tomo and a pair of Sharingan. At this moment, Sasuke, more than 4 years have passed since he opened his eyes for the first time. Over the years of hard practice, Sasuke has become powerful enough to withstand the use of a more powerful Sharingan, and has the basic conditions for Sharingan's evolution. But in recent years, he has been living in an environment that is somewhat depressive but peaceful, and he will naturally not be irritated to open his eyes. If it is a general uneducated Uchiha people who want to stimulate themselves, then there is a high probability that they will choose to kill relatives and friends, and use this painful and obliterating conscience method to gain more powerful pupil power. Now, after clarifying the evolutionary principle of Uchiha Sharingan, Naruto has chosen a relatively mild but can achieve the same effect to stimulate the evolution of Sasuke's Sharingan pupil power. That is, playing games, playing League of Legends. Although Naruto's learning space cannot be linked to Otherworld's network, the League of Legends server stored in the learning space saves the data templates of those players from Otherworld, and generates some human-computer players based on this. According to Naruto's division, these man-machines can be divided into 4 categories: God-tier players, ordinary players, rookie players, and orphan players. God-tier players naturally don't have to say much. They are strong and outrageous. The prototype is basically the professional players in the peak state of Otherworld, while the ordinary players are those who play normally, whether they are good or not, and have the average level of the normal players. And the rookie players don't need to say, the dish's feet are far lower than the rank where they are, almost every hand is mixed, relying on the thigh to score. And the last orphaned player has a wide range of types. The spring water hangs up and breathes out fragrance, and greeting relatives is just a basic operation. The rest, such as giving people heads, being a waste of help, sending people heads over the tower, and 10,000 years jungle, there are so many sea heatings. Usually when Naruto and Kurama play games, they are naturally set to match a bunch of ordinary players. Everyone has a good time and relies on their true level to improve their ranks, so that they can feel enough game fun. And Sasuke, in order to be able to ensure that he improves his pupil power and obtains a stronger Sharingan, Naruto set him an average of more than 2 orphan teammates for him, and the most likely remaining players are rookie players. On the opposite side, there is at least 1 God-tier player, 3 ordinary players, and 1 rookie player or orphan player. Only a few times, Sasuke will be matched with a God-tier player teammate, and a few rookie players on the opposite side will give him a bit of game experience, so that he will not lose hope in this game soon. With Sasuke's character, since he agreed to the spiritual mission assigned to him by Naruto, it is naturally impossible to give up. And in the long game, with the excellent League of Legends and the childhood when Sasuke rarely played games, then he is likely to love this game to his bones. Being in such an environment, Sasuke is either exploded with a pit mentality, despairing of the League of Legends, and thus loses love, in order to stimulate the improvement of pupil power. Or, relying on their own strong operating level, in the uninterrupted despair and tribulation, they created a 1 dozen miracle. Destroy these superhuman machines, and finally complete the task assigned by Naruto, get an extremely powerful sense of accomplishment, in order to get love and stimulate pupil power. Anyway, both sides make money. This is why Naruto dared to pack tickets, saying that as long as Sasuke continues to play this game, 95% of the pupils will be improved. After listening to Naruto's explanation, Kurama probably understood why he did it. For teamwork 5v5 games like League of Legends, players' sense of substitution and ambition will become extremely high. Recalling that when I was playing a game, I was easily exploded by a stimulating mentality when I didn't have a teammate and lost. Not to mention the trial that Naruto arranged for Sasuke, even if it is his own guy Rui, there will be orphan teammates dragging his feet, and it will be more prone to stimulation. Ordinary people can only be in a bad mood for a while when they are stimulated, but Uchiha people like Sasuke need to be stimulated enough to become stronger. Then why don't you play King of Glory for Sasuke, 1 for 10 minutes? Wouldn't it be easier to be stimulated to increase pupil power if you keep losing? Kurama suddenly thought, a little gloating. The gameplay of Glory of Kings is similar to that of League of Legends, but the rhythm is faster. Relatively speaking, you can play more in a unit of time, and it is easier to accumulate negative emotions if you keep losing. I thought about it, but in the end I chose League of Legends. The reason is that the Glory of the King is too short. Sasuke was just stimulated by his teammates and the game was over, which is not good. In addition to the instantaneous outburst, the negative emotion stimulation should also have a continuous output, so that his pupil power can be sufficiently improved. Quote. Naruto answered Kurama's question. Hello Sao. Kurama smiled funny, and suddenly didn't refuse to get along with that Uchiha kid. He lifted his avatar from the outside world, and returned his consciousness to the main body in the sealed space. On the sofa, he opened his eyes with a smile on his face, who was doomed on the sofa, and he stared at Sasuke who was playing games without watching the drama. At this moment, he discovered a new way to entertain, watch the live broadcast. After this day, Sasuke was completely immersed in the spiritual mission that Naruto arranged for him. In addition to eating and sleeping every day, and maintaining a minimum level of daily practice maintenance, the rest of the time will find a Naruto shadow clone as a register to go to the sealed space for special practice of improving pupil power. At the beginning, Sasuke was still playing games with the idea of a little mechanized task completion. But as time passed, he gradually fell in love with this game from the heart. In the process of constantly playing man-machines to upgrade the level, Sasuke is familiar with the skill mechanism of each hero, the method of production, and how to better develop himself and defeat the opponent better. And this is destined to be a process that takes a long time. After more than a month, Sasuke finally raised his account level to level 30, and at the same time completed the exploration of the entire game, and had enough confidence in his current strength. It was also at this time that Sasuke had a little bit of his own understanding of the spiritual mission that Naruto arranged for him. This game has a high sense of substitution and can also inspire people's ambition. To maintain a high winning percentage, you need a good overall situation awareness and attention to the whole battle. My Sharingan happens to have strong enough dynamic vision. Naruto wants me to use Sharingan continuously in the game. Then, in the continuous use, continue to satisfy one's eagerness to stimulate the mind, so as to achieve a breakthrough in pupil power. It's really a good method. Quote, Sasuke thought confidently in his heart. Over the past month or so, he can indeed feel that his pupil power has improved, and the distance to the three-hook jade may be just a short shot. Then, from now on, let's qualify. A smile appeared on the corner of Sasuke's mouth, and he started his first qualifying. Hey, Naruto, what do you plan to do if Sasuke's Sharingan fails to evolve? On the sofa, Kurama was lying on the sofa with a smile on his face, watching Sasuke who began to qualify, suffocating a grin. On the side, Naruto, who came here specially to watch, was also suffocating a smile, and responded telepathically, he likes this game so much. If he can't get a breakthrough in pupil power in a normal way, then I will give him a quit of internet addiction. This is also a loss. Love it. Under the gaze of the two, Sasuke matched 2 orphan players, 2 rookie player teammates, 2 god-tier players, and 3 ordinary player opponents, and began his first ranking journey. The game ended quickly. With the powerful skills he developed over the past month and the assistance of Sharingan, Sasuke finally won the round with 4 teammates who were dragging their feet and were full of trash-talking competition. Looking at the exploding crystal on the opposite side, Sasuke's face was a little dark. However, the joy of victory made him ignore those adverse reactions for the time being. Is this the ranked world? It's really challenging, but it doesn't bother me. Looking at the Platinum 3 ranks displayed after the grading was over, and briefly summarizing the gains and losses of this one, Sasuke started the next rank again. After playing, Sasuke finally relied on his strong strength to come to the promotion battle of the Diamond rank, although every hand could meet a few unpleasant people. In this one, Sasuke met 4 orphan teammates unprecedented in history. Among his opponents were 3 god-tier players. When I first entered the game, a teammate typed on the public screen, "I don't just mean someone, I mean everyone here is rubbish." Another teammate typed, "My sons lie down obediently, and daddy will take you to fly." There is also a typing, "Don't ask how strong I am, Zuin had parents for 4 years." The remaining one is also unwilling to lag behind. "Let's climb all over, I am in the middle of Ari." Sasuke's face is a bit dark, and he thinks these teammates are a bit mentally retarded, and he chose to block. 5 minutes later, the 4 typing teammates successfully sent 35 heads, and Sasuke's jungler, Happy Wind Man, was not happy anymore. Seeing this continued, Sasuke was determined to lose. The few teammates still gave the joy. Sasuke finally couldn't hold back. While growing, he turned on the public screen input. From where the hands flying on the keyboard into an afterimage, and the constantly switching screen images, we can see how excited Sasuke is at this moment. Naruto and Kurama watching from the sidelines, watching the tomo that quietly emerged from Sasuke's pair of scarlet Sharingan, a funny smile appeared on their faces at the same time, and they exchanged thoughts. "Look, isn't this effective?" When the base exploded and the promotion failed, Sasuke, who was holding a pair of 3 tomo Sharingan, finally understood a truth. In this game, there are no teammates. Except for myself, the rest are all opponents, so I have to take the 3-way pawn line, grab all the economy, and have the absolute level of operation to kill all the opponents under the interference of 4 mentally handicapped teammates. As long as you kill the opponent, you will naturally win. Only in this way can I become the strongest king. After this day, Sasuke was enlightened. After entering the game, he ignored the lineup and selected Yasuo, a hero who has enough space to operate and is happy enough. After the start, he began to develop crazily, playing in his own wild area, playing the opposite wild area, dirty teammates and killings, all on his own, and entered the ultimate autistic mode. In the beginning, Sasuke who played this way was often destroyed, not only being ganked by the enemy, but also by his teammates. The game experience was extremely poor. Also started from this, and the teammates were crazy. But he didn't care about this, even if he lost, he still went his own way. After playing a game, I started to summarize the gains and losses, only improving my personal operation level and overall awareness, and not caring about teamwork at all. Because he knew that it had no effect. He can only rely on himself if he wants to win. In the constant autism, Sasuke even dropped from the platinum position back to the black iron. But also in the midst of these fiascos, Sasuke's mentality began to become stable, and he would not be moved by the trash talk of his teammates, and he could greet relatives while operating his hero development. In addition to becoming more calm, Sasuke's strength is also increasing crazily. From the very beginning, he was often caught autistic, and later he could calmly deal with any sneak attacks and retreat easily. Later, Sasuke has a deeper understanding of this game. After he can perfectly connect all skills and perform extreme micro-manipulations, he can even complete a dozen extreme counter kills after the opponent's gank. Half a year later, Sasuke, as he was convinced at the beginning, was already able to complete the single kill of 5 opponents with the interference of 4 mentally handicapped teammates and limited cooperation, and completed the feat of 1,009 as simple man-machine kills. After that, the rank has no meaning for Sasuke. He can use the extreme operation of showing people's scalp tingling to block the 5 people opposite to the spring water for massacre. Even without the cooperation of his teammates, he has won again and again. The rank also began to soar from this, and soon broke through to the Diamond, Master, and Grandmaster rank he had never reached before. Then, it is the King. In the final Grandmaster's battle to advance to the King, there are 4 orphan players on his side and 5 God-tier players on the other side. Rao is an extremely powerful Sasuke, and he also feels extremely strong pressure. It's just that this didn't make him feel any move, and his expression was extremely calm, and he showed all the results of his recent short-term arduous practice. Sasuke stared intently at the constantly switching pictures on the screen, observing the positions of the 4 orphan teammates, calculating the positions of the 5 opponents, and the refresh time of the monsters and the line of soldiers. The 6 tomo of a pair of Sharingan has run to the limit, almost connected into one piece. He is constantly developing, trying his best to eat all the money, and trying his best to catch the opponents who are alone to prevent the others' development. At the same time, it is also preventing one's teammates from sending it. At this moment, Sasuke is like a snowball, constantly improving his strength. At the same time, he was still calmly predicting his position to dodge the question marks of his teammates, and greeting each other's relatives with his teammates. Time passed and Sasuke's record came to 2500. Finally invincible. Just like the many games he had played, he blocked the 5 people opposite to Quan Minato's mouth and slaughtered them wildly. Boom. 5 kills. The enemy base exploded, the game was won, and the promotion was successful. Sasuke looked at the slowly emerging symbol of the strongest king, and recalled the trials and hardships he had encountered during the recent period. Comparing the success at this moment, an unprecedented sense of accomplishment suddenly rose in his heart. Without suppressing himself, Sasuke allowed this strange emotion to spread in his heart. This is the final result he achieved after half a year of special practice. Finally, I still did not live up to Naruto's expectations. I completed this practice mission. Compared to just sweating and exercising, it is really a practice that combines all the mental and physical strengths to fight against others. What a boost! Thinking back intoxicated, Sasuke quietly experienced this hard-won victory. It was at this time that Sasuke's pupil power, which had been continuously improving during the recent period, broke through the limit at this moment and reached a new height. In silence, Sasuke's body started from the eyes, and a great change from the inside to the outside took place. In reality, Sasuke opened his eyes. Sitting by the lake, he used the reflection in the water to see what he was like at the moment. In the eye sockets, the 3 tomo spins frantically, and gradually become one piece, turning into a complicated jade pattern. And in the body, there is a powerful chakra surging. This chakra is transforming his eyes, constantly improving pupil power, and at the same time making his spirit and spirit improve in all directions. Inexplicably, a lot of information came to Sasuke's mind. At this moment, he suddenly understood a lot of new pupil techniques. This is a force that is many times stronger than the previous Sharingan. What will be brought to Sasuke will be in essentially the same change. Lightning style. Kylan. In a very short time, Sasuke created a cumulonimbus cloud. Then he raised his hand, and suddenly a huge unicorn rushed down from the sky and fell into the lake in front of him. During this process, Sasuke clearly saw the flow of each lightning bolt, and integrated its precise control into the attack. Boom! The huge explosion sounded. It was obviously the same ninjutsu as before, but at this moment it suddenly increased its power by more than 50%. This kind of power is no longer weaker than Naruto's wind style. Spiral Shuriken, and even stronger than the Spiral Shuriken in the attack range, far surpassing the level of ordinary S-level ninjutsu. With such a powerful ninjutsu, such a powerful pupil power, Uchiha Itachi shouldn't be my opponent anymore. Now I should be qualified to challenge Naruto, right? Looking at the turbulent lake in front of him, and experiencing the increasing pupil power and chakra in his body, the corners of Sasuke's mouth could not be restrained, and an extremely confident smile appeared. Although Naruto had shown extremely powerful strength in front of him, he now has Mangekyo Sharingan far surpassing the three-goad jade. This kind of pupil power gave Sasuke enough confidence. He no longer suppressed his fierce and boiling emotions at the moment, turned and walked towards Naruto's body by the waterfall. Naruto, come and fight me. Seeing Naruto, who is undergoing physical strengthening training, Sasuke speaks confidently. Ushered, it was Naruto's face with a question mark, are you sure? Sasuke saw Naruto's subconscious disapproval, and said seriously, I'm sure, from today I am not the me who used to be. I have changed. Quote, at this moment, Sasuke is very confident. Naruto also understood why he suddenly had such confidence. After all, the strength of the Uchiha people who did not open Mangekyo Sharingan is entirely the difference between heaven and earth. I thought that Sasuke's pupil power can only reach the point where it is infinitely close to Mangekyo. I didn't expect it to break through to Mangekyo directly on my own. Is it because the results of these years of practice have accumulated a deep foundation, or because of me is it too strong to stimulate the powerful chakra blessing of Indra? It's just a pity, I gave him a spare internet addiction and the Mangekyo plan is useless. Naruto sighed in his heart, but as Sasuke felt, he didn't pay much attention to Sasuke, who was so powerful. If you want to say why. Since you insist, come on. While speaking, Naruto stretched out his hand and pressed it on Sasuke's shoulder. He didn't feel the intention of attacking, so he didn't hide, and then Sasuke felt a flower in front of him. After the surrounding scenery became clear again, the two were no longer under the waterfall where they usually practiced, but came to a canyon where two huge statues stood. End Valley. Sasuke recognized this place, located at the border of the Fire Country, not a short distance from Konoha village. Even with the extremely fast speed of a ninja, it takes at least one day and one night to get here. Flying Thunder God Technique. Sasuke, who was standing on the head of the Uchiha Madara statue, looked at Naruto, who jumped on the head of the Senju Hashirama statue opposite, and asked in shock. He knew that Naruto had been practicing this technique, but the progress had not been very fast. He didn't expect this to happen suddenly. Naruto already possesses extremely strong strength, and now he has the Flying Thunder God technique, which can be said to be even more powerful. After realizing this also made Sasuke, who was a little bloated, calmer. Although he still didn't think he would lose, he became more cautious in his heart. Naruto glanced at Sasuke and knew what he was thinking. He explained in a calm tone, you are doing Sharingan special practice during this period. I haven't relaxed. I just finished it, but it needs to be applied to actual combat. It takes a period of practice, and I won't be able to use it in this battle. The original Flying Thunder God technique was created by second Hokage Senju Tobirama, not to mention the slow speed, but also the printing. In addition to saving time on the road, and suddenly using the Yin-Ren in the battle, it is not too powerful. Later, after Naruto's father Namikaze Minato, combined with many Uzumaki seal technique improvements, the Flying Thunder God technique, which can be instantly issued without a print, is the invincible technique that truly created his reputation for Yellow Flash. It is equivalent to the difference between read bar transmission and no CD flashing. This is also because Senju Tobirama has too many techniques and did not put too much energy into this technique. Namikaze Minato is a civilian, and if you want to become stronger, you can only specialize in one. At this moment, Naruto has already practiced his father's improved Flying Thunder God technique, but it is only practiced. The final intensive training on neural response has not been carried out yet, which is not the most perfect. After all, Namikaze Minato is not only powerful in Flying Thunder God, but his strong nerve response speed is the reason why he can use this technique to ultimate. However, even if Naruto doesn't use Flying Thunder God to play as Sasuke at this moment, there is no pressure. Sasuke blushed old and understood Naruto's underlying meaning. This is mocking him for playing games crazy and forgetting the time. He quickly changed the subject and said, are you ready? Let's start fighting. This time I will let you feel the fruits of my practice during this period of time. Naruto nodded and took off the load, as did Sasuke. The Kurama brand power bank started to work to make up for the two who were about to fight. Then, a gust of wind swept a few leaves. When the leaves fell, Naruto and Sasuke moved almost at the same time. Just for a moment, the two of them disappeared out of thin air. Bang bang bang. In the air, dense fists and feet collided. The air driven by the powerful force is getting more and more violent, forming a shock wave that spreads continuously, centering on the two fighting against each other. In a very short time, the two made thousands of moves. My physical skills are inferior to Naruto after all. The more he hits, the more passive Sasuke. Despite the powerful dynamic vision blessing brought by Mangekyo Sharingan, his body couldn't keep up with the reaction, and in the end he could only be pushed down by Naruto. Fire style, extinguish the fire. With a punch, Naruto flew away, and Sasuke took advantage of the force to fly back. Immediately afterwards, with a superb speed of 17 seals in 2 seconds, a fire-style ninjutsu sprayed a sea of fire at Naruto. Wind style, vacuum barrier. Naruto didn't even hide, nor did he seal off. As soon as his thoughts moved, the airflow around his body was expelled, and a thick vacuum wall emerged. As soon as the large sea of fire sprayed by Sasuke entered Naruto's side, it seemed to be like rootless duckweed, and it went out. This makes Sasuke want to use this wave to attack Naruto, and by the way complete the lightning style. Kylan's wishful thinking of preconditions is completely lost. Then I will help you. Naruto stood tall in the air, glanced at Sasuke, who was also suspended in the air 30 meters away, and then raised his hand Jin to the sky. Wind style, call the wind and call the rain. In recent years of practice, Sasuke perfected his lightning style. Herein, Naruto also developed a weather ninjutsu that can be quickly released after Kiin. The offensive power is not great, but just like the name of this technique, it can be transformed into a humanoid weather control instrument, calling for wind and rain. In terms of physical skills, Sasuke is undoubtedly not his opponent. After testing Sasuke's level, it doesn't make much sense to continue. It just so happens that Naruto at this moment wants to try the power of this lightning style. Hereinafter Sasuke has achieved great success. Sasuke's cheeks flushed, feeling Naruto underestimating him. Suddenly, he became more focused than ever before, thunder and lightning appeared in his hand, and he raised his hand to condense the appearance of a unicorn from the sky. Moreover, this is not over yet. After attracting a unicorn, Sasuke made a series of efforts, summoning 4 unicorns in one breath, and blasted towards Naruto almost indiscriminately. Naruto can activate Flying Thunder God to escape just before Sasuke casts the spell, but it is not necessary. He stood there, facing the thundercloud in the sky and made a response. With a thought, I quickly entered Sage mode. Then, a series of prints flashed out of Naruto's hands like butterflies wearing flowers. Almost at the same time that the unicorn in the sky was pounced, Naruto also completed the S-level defensive ninjutsu he had developed in a full year. Sage Art, Wind Style, Vacuum Field. With the completion of Naruto's technique, the air within a radius of 300 meters was emptied by Naruto almost instantly. The 4 unicorns that pounced on Naruto had just rushed into the vacuum domain, and their shape suddenly collapsed, but within a few seconds they turned into electric sparks and dissipated into the void. At this moment, Sasuke's head is full of question marks. Chapter 71. According to Sasuke's vision, he released 4 unicorns in a row, and Naruto should also put 4 spiral shurikens against him in one breath, and then determine the winner based on which of the 2 sides is more powerful in ninjutsu. After all, it is a man's romance to wave. However, who would have thought that Naruto gave an understatement of ninjutsu? He used a lot of S-level lightning style that chakra used to attack ninjutsu and it would be misfired. Except that at the beginning, it seemed to be huge, the actual damage caused was even worse than the previous physical showdown. You know, his lightning style. Keelin, but the real technique of destroying the city and destroying the country, in the thunderstorm weather, if he exhausted all the chakra, he could summon dozens of hundreds of unicorns and raised a small country directly to the ground. But now, only this kind of record has been played. How does this make Sasuke reconciled? What kind of ninjutsu is this? Sasuke asked unwillingly. Not far away, Naruto launched Flying Thunder God and flew to Sasuke's side. Hearing this question, Naruto showed a disgusting expression on his face without concealment. Didn't I tell you all the names of the moves? Vacuum Realm. After using up the vacuum domain, the air around Naruto's body was drawn out. Without air as a transmission medium, the thunder and lightning that Sasuke attracted naturally dissipated without causing any damage. But in contrast, although Naruto's body is protected by chakra, the vacuum will not cause him damage, but he also loses the ability to control the airflow. If you don't use the Flying Thunder God mark on Sasuke to fly out of that vacuum area, you have to fall down. From this point of view, Sasuke's anti-gravity magnetic field flying technique is more applicable to the environment, and he did not waste several years of developing this ninjutsu. Hearing what Naruto said, Sasuke finally learned when he was studying magnetic levitation, but recently he has returned to the teacher his physics knowledge for several years. It's no wonder that my fire-style ninjutsu and lightning-style ninjutsu just now can't cause harm to you. There is no oxygen for flame combustion in the vacuum, and there is no medium for the transmission of lightning. Naturally, it cannot cause you who are protected in it harm. Sasuke suddenly realized, and then angrily said, Naruto, you specially developed this ninjutsu to restrain me. It's not specifically for you. I have also developed wind style that specifically defends against physical attacks like earth style and water style. The tornado wall can use the high-speed rotating wind blade to cut all entities, you just incidentally. Quote. Naruto kindly comforted. However, the effect is not very good, which makes Sasuke's face even darker. Come on, try my Mangekyo pupil technique, I don't believe this, you can restrain it. Sasuke stared at Naruto with a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan, and invited the battle again. Upon hearing this, Naruto showed an expression of interest. Oh, what is your Mangekyo Sharingan's ability? Speak and listen. Sharingan is the portrayal eye of the soul. When opening Mangekyo, he will awaken his unique pupil technique according to the wishes of the Uchiha tribe. In the manga, Sasuke is awakened by Amaterasu and Flame Control, which can control Amaterasu's morphological changes and nature transformation. In reality, Sasuke's experience and learned knowledge, as well as the personality formed based on this, are very different from the Sasuke in the comics, and there is no reason to awaken the same Mangekyo ability. I won't tell you, let's experience it for yourself in the battle. Sasuke refused coldly. Naruto didn't care, raised his hand, and stuffed a group of pure chakra extracted from him into Sasuke's body. Then, he kindly reminded, Brother, Mangekyo will be blind if you use it too much. If you are blind, you can't play games. So after you have achieved the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, you can use your Mangekyo Sharingan's abilities at will. Sasuke's face stagnated when he heard the words, is there still such a statement? No one had ever told him before when the tribe was still alive. Then, he felt that Naruto's chakra began to come into contact with his own chakra, because it was specially refined and not aggressive, so Sasuke easily integrated this group of chakra into his own chakra. As the fused chakra moved to the eyes, Sasuke felt his eyes warm, as comfortable as soaking in warm water. Since Mangekyo Sharingan was turned on not long ago, the pupil power has been growing continuously, and its growth rate has also suddenly increased at this time. If Sasuke's pupil power growth rate was 1 before, it has already become 5 at this moment. Although this growth rate only lasted for 10 seconds, and disappeared because Naruto's chakra was exhausted, Sasuke still keenly felt the strangeness of Naruto chakra. Sasuke raised his head suddenly and cast his gaze to Naruto. Then, I saw a ball of chakra wrapped around Naruto's fingers, looking at him with a smile. Okay, let me tell you. At this point, Sasuke understood what Naruto meant, and snorted and spoke reluctantly. The ability of Sasuke's left eye is a curse ability. As long as it is within his field of vision, he can use his pupil power to activate this ability, ignoring the defensive curse to kill the enemy, and the enemy can only defend with his own mental strength. In addition, if you can hold the enemy's body information, such as hair cells, you can curse and kill the enemy from a long distance. In theory, as long as Sasuke is strong enough, he can kill everyone with this ability. Of course, the reality is that the strength of pupils restricts Sasuke. According to Sasuke's own feelings, he can at most silently curse people with similar strengths. However, if Sasuke is willing to overdraw his own life, he can surpass the limit of his pupil power to curse even more powerful enemies. The ability of Sasuke's right eye is to constantly solidify an Izanagi's pupil technique. This is a Uchiha forbidden technique that can change any unfavorable factors, including death. It requires at least the pupil power of 3 Guyu to activate it. Once this pupil technique is activated, it will make a Sharingan permanently lose its light. But Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan has constantly solidified this pupil technique. After using it, it will not pay the price of losing the light. At most, it will lose pupil power. As long as the pupil power is restored, it can be used in the degree. After listening to Sasuke explaining his 2 Mangekyo Sharingan abilities in detail, Naruto looked at Sasuke with a weird expression. One sentence blurted out, "Sasuke, when you awakened Mangekyo, were you thinking about how to kill your orphan teammates in the game?" There is a reason why Naruto said so. Since Sasuke started playing the game, he and Naruto have complained the most about the orphan players he encountered in the game. Naturally, Naruto would not tell him that these teammates are all humans and machines. What he told Sasuke is that he has a magical item that can be linked to Otherworld's network. As long as you don't reveal that you are a stranger, you can talk freely. Of course, if it is exposed, it will be blocked by the system. And because these humans and machines are too smart, Sasuke completely believes in Naruto's nonsense. Because of this, Sasuke wanted to cross the network cable more than once and go to the other side of the world to kill all these orphan teammates. As everyone knows, Sharingan of the Uchiha tribe is the Eye of Soul portrayal. When Mangekyo is opened, Tongli will respond to the expectations of its owner. But there is also a supplementary setting, that is, after the master of Mangekyo expects too much, the pupil power will not be able to achieve it, and the unique pupil technique that will eventually be formed will be discounted. Well, it's similar to the difference between super clear and uncut and stream saving mosaic when watching a video. It can also be described as enough and ultimate experience. It's like Obito. When you start Mangekyo, you want to escape from the world, but you can't do that. In the end, you form the different space of Kamui, and on this basis, the hollow and the ability to ingest matter with Kamui space are formed. When Sasuke opened Mangekyo, he wanted to kill all the orphan teammates in Otherworld on the other side of the network cable, but Mangekyo's pupil power was unable to cross the world. As a result, he made a discount and formed Sasuke's left eye's ability to curse enemies remotely. It would be possible to kill orphan teammates along the network cable in the same world. On the other hand, Izanagi in the right eye supplemented this ability. If I encounter a curse that doesn't die, he will overdraw his life by cursing and killing, and then use Izanagi this resurrection armor to change the unfavorable factors and avoid the consequences of death. Hearing Naruto's words, Sasuke seemed to have seen a ghost, and subconsciously moved away from Naruto 3 meters. "Naruto, do you still read mind?" Obviously, Naruto guessed correctly. Naruto contemptuously said, "Didn't I say that I know Sharingan very well? Also, weren't you the orphan teammate Tenten told me to complain about? How many times have you told you to read more, but you only read what you need to use every time, and then you turn your head and forget it? There is no sense of accumulation at all. Look, how many common sense questions did you ask me today?" Sasuke was speechless. Although he was not convinced, that was the truth. "I will read more in the future. Mangekyo's pupil technique told you. Give me your chakra. I feel that if this goes on, I should be able to reach the eternal Mangekyo level and kill Itachi and the masked man to take revenge." Quote. In an instant, Sasuke forgot the unhappiness just now, and looked at Naruto excitedly. "By the way, why does your chakra promote the evolution of my pupil power? I'm curious." Sasuke suddenly remembered a question and asked. While refining chakra, Naruto said, "This is a long story. You give me your chakra, try to refine it to the limit and we exchange it. If you are right, give me a little bit of your pupil power. Let me see if I can open a Mangekyo. Since the chakra of the Ashura line can promote the opening of the Indra line, Rinnegan. So it doesn't make sense, but it doesn't work the other way around. Even if it doesn't work, Naruto wants to try it, anyway." Sasuke didn't know why, but he did. First, I clicked Naruto's eyes and planted his Mangekyo pupil power in Naruto's eyes. Then, he began to try his best to extract all of his huge chakra. At this time, Naruto spoke and selectively told Sasuke the story of the 2 brothers Ashura and Indra. Both are the sons of Sage of 6 Paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo. The elder brother Indra inherited his father's immortal eye, which is eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and his descendants founded the later Uchiha clan. The younger brother Ashura inherited his father's sage body, possessing majestic chakra, physical fitness and recovery ability, and his descendants created the later Senju and Uzumaki clan. In other words, we were once an ancestor and inherited the power of eyes and body separately, so can our chakra complement each other? Sasuke asked curiously when he heard this. There is a certain relationship, but it is not the most important factor. My brother Indra is more wise and talented, and everyone thinks he can inherit the ninzang created by Sage of Six Paths. Even Ashura himself gave up. Later, before Sage of Six Paths died, he chose a concept that was more in line with him and believed in the benevolent younger brother Ashura inherits Shinshu. As a result, it caused Indra's dissatisfaction. There was a battle with his younger brother. Even after the two died, the battle did not stop. Their chakra was reincarnated in the body of the offspring, continuing this evenly matched battle. The reincarnated person of this generation of Indra chakra is you, and the reincarnated person of Ashura's chakra is me. Don't think I have a good relationship between the two of us. Those who were reincarnated from chakra before us have a very bad relationship. They can often punch out the dog's mind. In addition to the family feud, it is also because of the grievances between the brothers. Their chakra will continue to subtly affect the reincarnation, and inspire hatred between the two. After a moment of silence, Naruto whispered in his heart. Like Naruto and Sasuke in the comics, they seem to have their own independent personalities, but they have gradually become Indra and Ashura as they grow up. The same is true for the previous generation of Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. Quote. After listening to this explanation, Sasuke felt stunned. No wonder, when I first met Naruto, I felt that this person was a little kind, and he was a little uncomfortable when I saw him. Then, he subconsciously said, then, brother Naruto, called brother. As soon as he spoke, his body took a step back subconsciously. The next moment a wind blade swept across the place where he was standing. Looking up, he saw Naruto's indifferent eyes. Suddenly, Sasuke didn't dare to hide, and quickly changed the subject. Then why didn't we fight? According to you, Indra is very radical, and I am not radical. After Naruto warned, he stopped struggling and casually Kaido. A person's character is related to the education he receives and his environment. The chakra of these two people can only be subtle, and not directly brainwashed. In the process of growing up, you will gradually change and distort your original character, and although we are still young, we have become very strong. If the ninja's chakra quantity is taken as a manifestation of the nature of life, aside from the combat experience and other things, in essence, we are now weaker than the brothers in the heyday. When I was aware of it, they would naturally not affect me, and you have been supervised by me, so naturally there is no chance to be extreme. Quote. Upon hearing this, Sasuke's eyes appeared thoughtful. The information contained in Naruto's words is too much. For a while, Sasuke also had a mixed feeling in his heart. After being silent for a while, he asked, Naruto, what do you want to do in the future? The story of ancient ancestors is too far away from now. After listening to it, you don't have to worry too much. By now, with the help of Naruto, he has enough strength. Sasuke has decided that after a while, when he is fully familiar with Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil power, and when his strength has grown to the limit, he will look for his brother Uchiha Itachi and confront him. As he once said, if Itachi has any difficulties, then go with him to kill the man behind it, and avenge the lost parents. If Itachi was purely to obtain strong pupil power, then Sasuke would choose to kill his brother Itachi first, then kill the masked man, avenge the passing of the parents, and put it all over. In this regard, Sasuke has absolute confidence. And what to do in life after revenge, Sasuke didn't think about it. So, he wanted to ask Naruto if he had any good suggestions. No matter what Naruto wanted to do, Sasuke decided to support it. His idea is very simple. Since he has been receiving your favor for the first half of his life, he will try his best to pay back the favor for the rest of his life. What are you doing? Upon hearing this question, Naruto smiled, looking complicated. He knew that Sasuke was not simply asking small questions like what to do in the near future. There is no hesitation in this question. The first is to make Konoha disappear from the world. What Sasuke really wants to ask is a goal that he can fight for his whole life and give everything. A lofty ideal that can fill his empty heart after he completes his revenge. Once, third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen asked Naruto this question. His answer was that he didn't know what he wanted to do, he wanted to learn more and know more before making a decision. 2 years ago, after reading the manga that chronicled his life and future, Naruto also asked himself what he wanted to do in the future. However, the answer is still confused. He needs to learn more and see more before he can make a decision that he will not regret in the future. At this moment, 2 years have passed, he has learned a lot, and he has a clearer understanding of the world in his heart, but he still hasn't understood what he wants to do in the future. After a while, after I have completed the final practice, let's take a look at this ninja world, and then we will be able to know what we want to do. In the end, Naruto gave this answer. Over the years, I have been studying, and I have never relaxed for a moment. Maybe it's time to take a look at the world in which you live. Sasuke was silent, and after a while, he replied, okay. In silence, the two stopped talking and concentrated on refining chakra. Some time later, Sasuke completed the refinement of chakra. In his hand, he held an extremely huge chakra group, containing all of his chakra, and there was really no drop left in his body. On the other hand, Naruto is quite comfortable. Although he also holds a huge chakra group in his hand, it only occupies 30% of his own chakra, and most of the consumed has been recovered. After Sasuke was refined, Naruto also stopped. Naruto raised his hand and fisted Sasuke. Immediately, the chakra group in the hands of the two slowly flowed into each other's body like flowing water. Sasuke's feeling is the same as before, his eyes are as warm as immersed in warm water, his pupil power has rapidly improved, and his physical fitness has been strengthened in the process of constantly absorbing Naruto's chakra. And Naruto's feeling is very different from Sasuke. After he absorbed the chakra belonging to Sasuke, his body changed little, but there was a tingling sensation in his pupils. The Mangekyo pupil power that Sasuke planted before seemed to be stimulated by Naruto. The eyes are slowly absorbed. In addition, Naruto can clearly feel that his weak yin chakra has begun to show a trend of rapid increase. The external manifestation is that the mental power has begun to increase at a perceivable rate. Living creatures have the characteristics of yin and yang escape, but because of talent and individual differences, they will have different emphasis on yin and yang escape. The previous Naruto obviously belongs to the particularly prominent type of yang dun. Is the effect so obvious? Because of my physical talent, I was too weak to practice illusion, so I can only learn how to solve illusion and let it go. Now this trend develops, I can also use illusion. Practice it. There are also changes in the eyes. It seems that my previous guess is very reasonable. It is indeed possible to stimulate the recessive genes in the body through this method and re-inherit the ancestors' Sharingan and even Rinnegan pupils. However, the pupil power is too small now, and I don't know how long it will take to activate Sharingan's blood. In short, insist on exchanging chakra with Sasuke in the future, it will always satisfy the eye-opening request. After a long time, Naruto finally inhaled all Sasuke's chakra compatible with his own chakra. The next thing to do is to wait for all these chakras to be digested by the body. After observing the speed of digesting chakra, it is enough to exchange chakra with Sasuke once in about 3 days. Opened his eyes and glanced at Sasuke, who was standing not far away in the air. Opening his eyes at about the same time, Naruto said, "Go back." Sasuke stopped Naruto. "Wait, there is one more thing, I almost forgot." Naruto glanced at Sasuke, but did not speak. "The name of my double eye pupil technique, please refer to it for me." The pupil technique of the right eye has similar abilities in our clan, so it can be called Izanagi. For the left eye, I want to ask him to change the limit one by one. At the critical moment, it can have a similar effect. What do you think? Sasuke said cheerfully. As long as you are happy. Naruto didn't want to talk, his eyes were full of disgust. Then you can help think of a high-end, high-grade one. The names of the pupils of our family Sharingan originate from corresponding mythological stories, but I did not expect that among the gods in those mythological stories, who has the ability in my pupil. The technique is similar. Sasuke raised her head, a little annoyed. Then let me think about it for you. When Sasuke said this, Naruto also started to think. The ancient myths and legends of the ninja world are roughly the same as the Japanese myths and stories of another world. Regardless of Izanagi, it is indeed impossible to find a god that corresponds to Sasuke's left eye pupil technique. After thinking about it for a while, Naruto pulled out a god name from the depths of his memory, Baujin Risshin. This is a god in charge of disasters, which is a bit related to curses, but not exactly the same. As a result, Naruto began to diverge and expand his search to the myths of other gods. Then it's called the Nailhead Seven Arrows book. There is such a magic weapon in the legend, which is exactly the same as your pupil ability. It can curse and kill powerful immortals from a long distance. Even the strong-like sage of six paths should be blocked. Don't help it, the name of your left eye pupil technique is quite stylish. At this moment, Naruto thought of the conferred god's kingdom he had seen before, and thought of the powerful magic weapon of the Taoist Luya, which had exactly the same ability as Sasuke's pupil technique, and nodded his conviction. Even the magic weapons and monsters in the journey to the west such as the Golden Horn and Silver Horn, Banana Fan, and Purple Golden Gourd are in the ninja world, so many nail-headed seven arrows are not a violation. Not much to say, bloom directly. While talking, Naruto explained to Sasuke the origin and ability of the nail-headed seven arrows book in detail. After a pause, Naruto said again, although the power of your right eye is similar to that of Izanagi, after all, there is no danger of losing the light of the eyes. So in order to make a distinction, call it infinite Izanagi. Sasuke heard the words, thought about it for half a second, and then agreed to Naruto's proposal without hesitation. Although I have never heard of myths and legends about the Naruto and the Seven Arrows, since you said it, Naruto, then there really is such a thing, so let's call it this. Patting Sasuke on the shoulder, Naruto exclaimed, so, it's useful to read more books, right? Sasuke, you can estimate how long it will take your Izanagi to use it once. Suddenly, Naruto remembered something and asked Sasuke. About once a month, now because of your chakra can increase and restore my pupil power, as long as you are willing to provide chakra, you can use it about once a week, what's the matter? I want to use this pupil technique for help. Sasuke has become smarter this time, picking up his mind that had been lost for a long time, and learned to draw inferences from one another. As soon as Naruto asked, he answered the question that he hadn't said before. Well, yes, I really need your help. Let's go back now and talk about it in a few days. Naruto replied with a smile, and the look at Sasuke finally faded away from caring for the second fool. Sasuke's awakened Mangekyo pupil technique brought Naruto a lot of surprises. There are some things that can be put on the agenda in advance because of Sasuke's pupil technique, such as getting the other half of Kurama back, such as how to kill the Black Hands Uchiha Obito and Otsutsuki who are hiding behind the scenes of the ninja world. Originally Naruto thought that when Orochimaru was planning Konoha's collapse, he waited until the third generation summoned Shinigami to seal it with ghouls, and then went up and grabbed his father's soul and the half-yin Kurama. It seems that it is no longer needed. Now, Naruto needs to make a detailed plan and think about the consequences that might be caused when he starts to act. At this moment, Sasuke didn't know what Naruto was thinking. Nodded and agreed to Naruto. Okay, if you have something to help, just speak directly. As long as you can do it, you will never refuse. Let's go back now. I want to get acquainted with Mangekyo's pupil power. Naruto nodded and put his hand on Sasuke's shoulder. Flying Thunder God was launched, and the two of them were already back under the waterfall in the next moment. Before parting, Naruto said, take time to go to the underground secret room of the Nanga shrine of your Uchiha clan. There are top secret messages that can only be seen with Mangekyo Sharingan. After reading it, tell me that some can be trusted and some are not. Fake, let me analyze it for you. Naruto, who has read the manga, knows that the stone tablet records the story of the two brothers Indra and Ashura in ancient times, as well as some methods of Sharingan's evolution. And, Sage of Six Paths' exhortation to Uchiha's descendants, telling them how to achieve peace in their ideals. However, later, the content of this stele was partially modified by Otsutsuki Agarwood. It is true and false. Although it may be mentioned in the comics, it is not as detailed as if the person concerned personally watched it. Sasuke nodded and turned away coolly. And Naruto, after splitting out a shadow clone for thinking, began to carry out his last practice in the near future. Exercise nerve reflex speed. The exercise method is also very simple, that is, a dozen or so shadow clone throws various messy and airtight kunai shurikens at him from various tricky angles, and even gravel iron body of different sizes and weights. Moreover, these throwing objects have added wind-style chakra acceleration. However, Naruto's body is doing his best, relying on his body's reaction ability and the assistance of Flying Thunder God technique to hide all these throwing objects. In this way, to apply Flying Thunder God technique to actual combat as soon as possible. This practice had just begun at this moment, so Naruto looked a little embarrassed. But as time goes by, it will naturally become more and more proficient, until in the end all the potential of the body is fully developed, and all obstacles can be avoided with ease. Then this practice is regarded as a small accomplishment. During the practice, time passed quickly. And Naruto's thinking gradually came to a conclusion, and at the same time, he concluded an action plan. After this, a clone was separated and began to focus on the sealing technique of ghoul sealing. Naruto had studied this seal technique before, but only learned it, and now he is studying how to crack this seal technique in reverse. All the plans, wait until he has thoroughly studied this seal technique, then he can begin to execute it. But Sasuke took the time to visit Nanga Shrine. When he came back, his expression was a little complicated, and he was shaken by what he believed in. He began to suspect that his brother Itachi really didn't kill him just to pursue stronger pupil power. Because, on the stone tablet, it is clearly recorded that if you want to obtain the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, you need to plunder the Mangekyo Sharingan, which belongs to the blood relative, and merge the pupil power of 2 pairs of Mangekyo. But after all, Naruto's subtle influence over the years has worked. He calmed down a lot, and decided to wait until he understood the truth of the matter before finally making a decision that would not make his future self regret. In the step-by-step practice of life, time passes by. In a blink of an eye, they have already arrived at the 6th graders of the ninja school. When graduating, I passed the graduation exam long ago. The assessment was nothing more than the 3-body technique that Naruto had already mastered when he was 5 years old. Also, it is optional and does not affect the written examination for graduation. After graduating and becoming Genin, Jonin, who led the team, had already made it clear that he was Hatake Kakashi, who told Naruto and Sasuke regularly every day to teach stories and life experiences. In the past 2 years, in order to prevent the loss of his last dignity as a teacher, Kakashi kept reading in his spare time, but taught Naruto and Sasuke a lot of unheard knowledge. It is specifically embodied in the weird and strange things that have happened all over the ninja world. Although Naruto has an indifferent attitude towards graduation or not, Naruto rarely chose the main body on the day of class placement. After all, friends who have been with each other for 6 years will have to go their separate ways starting today. After all, this is a memorable day. On the road, Naruto, wearing black slacks, white shirt and orange casual jacket, walked side by side with Sasuke in black slim jeans. The 2 handsome cheeks were full of cold expressions. Although it made people feel uncomfortable to look at them, it did not affect the amazing gazes of the young ladies along the way. Although at this moment, Naruto and Sasuke are several months away from the age of 13. But the years of hard practice have made the heights of the 2 of them not low, and the height of 1.65 m or more is quite similar to the mature youth in the comics 5 years later, letting those girls who are in the spring of spring. Shafe looked at her cheeks. Neither Naruto nor Sasuke paid much attention to the glances from the people around him. Walking slowly, the 2 chatted casually. Surrounded by air currents to isolate the sound, it is not afraid of passers-by hearing it. Naruto, who do you think is our remaining teammate? Hinata, Sasuke said. Whether it's because of Sharingan's restraint of the tail beast, or from the familiarity of Sasuke and Naruto, the 2 are bound to be grouped together, and it is worth discussing which teammate is left. In Sasuke's opinion, there is a high probability that he has a better relationship with them and comes from Hinata, the eldest of the Hyuga clan. It could be little Sakura, too. Naruto replied. That nympho, is she qualified for our team? Sasuke looked puzzled. The little Sakura in the comics, at any rate, has a mastermind. Although the actual combat level is average, just the level of normal genin, but the theoretical level is much better than most chunin. But in reality, Naruto is an all-round academic master who is excellent in both actual combat and theory. Although Sasuke is slightly inferior to Naruto, it is also a master who is far superior to ordinary people. In comparison, only the little Sakura, who is slightly better in theory, looks bleak. In addition, on weekdays, young Sakura often looks at her shadow clone and becomes idiots. This also causes Sasuke to be familiar with her after 6 years of classmates, but she is very general in her senses. It is indeed possible that it is little Sakura. After all, Ino Shikacho will not be separated. And Hinata and Gaia Shino are both ninjas with detective expertise. According to the previous division rule, they are likely to be grouped together as a special class, just like the physical skill special class of Mr. Guy. And the two of us will definitely be in the same team, and the rest is naturally the extra one, but the little Sakura who has a good relationship with us. After all, the other students in the class are relatively ordinary. Quote, either you can't graduate, or you just follow an ordinary teacher. You are not qualified to enjoy the high-quality educational resources led by the elite Jonin. Naruto answered casually, not very much. The deep-seated reason Naruto didn't say it, but Sasuke looked thoughtful. He recently picked his mind back and saw some information hidden under the surface. If you are divided into classes like Naruto, you said, it's not impossible. Ino Shikacho and Hinata Shinoya are the heirs of the ninja clan in the village. Although the two of us are from a good background in the strict sense, the bigger label we put on our bodies is a factor of instability in the village, right? After all, a Jinchuriki, a Uchiha who is unpopular and easy to go to extremes, can get out of control at any time, and little Sakura, a civilian with no background. If we are divided with us, if one of us runs away and accidentally gets her, died. She is a civilian with no background, and she will die if she dies. It doesn't matter to the village. And if you don't die, little Sakura still has some talent. With the teaching of elite Jonin like Kakashi, you may not have the chance to become a strong female ninja in the future. Anyway, it will be good for the village. After listening to Sasuke's analysis, Naruto had a feeling of admiration for him. This young man is really not stupid, but he doesn't like to use the brain as an organ. Naruto nodded slightly, and Naruto agreed, what you said makes sense. Now you can perceive the direction of the Hokage building. You can see that there is no bearded ninja, and the beautiful Oni-san ninja standing next to him. Sasuke did what he said, using the recently trained chakra perception, and looked in the direction of the Hokage building. Sure enough, I saw the two people Naruto said, Sarutobi Asuma and Yurihong. Sasuke whispered to himself. But in the next second, Sasuke's perception was kicked out of the Hokage building. Naruto's Kagura was quite well trained, and was not noticed. Sasuke was too obvious, and was soon discovered by Anbu ninja of Yamanaka's house in Hokage building. However, when the Yamanaka family followed Chakra back with perception, he saw Naruto and Sasuke swaying along the street. Frozen, then sighed, called a report to Hokage, and then assumed nothing happened. These two people are not ordinary people. One is the orphan of 4th Hokage, and the other is the orphan of the Uchiha clan. Not to mention just taking a peek at the Hokage building. Even if they ran in to steal the Book of the Seal, they had to pretend not to see it, and only after consulting Hokage could they make the next decision. Did you see? They are also Jonin leading the team. One is the son of 3rd Hokage, and the other is the future daughter-in-law. The two of them are estimated to take Ino Shikacho and Ya and the others. The children of the big family are just complete. Get together. This will pave the way for his son. Even if he can't become Hokage in the future, it is okay to have such a network as a Hokage assistant, and it is enough to ensure the continuation and development of their Sarutobi family. If you count this way, does it mean that Sakura is more likely to be assigned to our class? Sasuke approved Naruto's speculation. After a few more chats, the two of them had already arrived in the classroom. Then, Naruto, who had just sat down, saw Ino, Sakura, and Hinata all approaching. I hope that Sasuke-kun and Naruto-kun will be my teammates. That would be great. Ino spoke first, looking forward to it. On the side, little Sakura is also unwilling to lag behind. Go away, Ino pig, I am the one who can be put in the same class with Sasuke-kun. Sasuke looked cold, watching where the two were arguing. Naruto-kun, I hope I can be assigned to a class with you. Hinata spoke a little shyly. Naruto could tell from her eyes that she had already used a lot of courage at the moment. Ignoring the farce on the side, Naruto smiled and said, "It is of course good to be placed in a class, and it doesn't matter if there is none. Anyway, I basically won't perform tasks. If you want to find me, you can go directly to the waterfall as before. Just look for me. In fact, you, Hinata, don't need to join the genin team, just follow your father's practice." Quote. In the recent period of time, his nerve reaction speed practice has gradually improved, and it is expected that in a few months he will be able to achieve small gains and complete the first stage of practice, so he really does not intend to perform the task for the time being. As Jinchuriki, he doesn't want to perform the task, so Hokage can't do anything with him. Anyway, he has made a lot of business in these years. Rich as self-willed. Big deal, send myself a long-term mission to protect my family's property. Hearing what Naruto said, Hinata felt a lot more at ease, and it was of course a good thing to be able to be assigned to a class with Naruto. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. After 6 years of getting along, the bond between them has been very deep, and the genin team is no longer needed to continue to maintain each other's bond. As time goes by, she will eventually get closer and closer to Naruto, and all she needs to do before then is to keep getting stronger. If I didn't get into a group with Naruto-kun, then I wouldn't join the genin team. As the eldest Hyuga clan, I have such a willful qualification. If it weren't for Naruto-kun, I would even be a ninja. The school has already dropped out. Hinata whispered in her heart and made up her mind. As she said, studying at the ninja school is meaningless to Hinata. The reason why she didn't drop out was just because Naruto was here. Soon, as a teacher, Yumino Iruka walked into the classroom and interrupted the chat among the classmates. He smiled and said blessings for everyone to graduate, and then began to announce the message of class placement. As expected by Naruto, the final sorting pattern is exactly the same as in the comics. Ino Shikacho, Hinata Shino and Toa, and Naruto, Sakura Sasuke. The rest of the classmates who are familiar with strangers can be ignored. After hearing the news of the sorting, Ino looked frustrated, and Hinata was determined to quit the genin team. Only the little Sakura cheered and rushed over and hugged Sasuke's arm and shouted, "Sasuke-kun, we will be teammates from now on, please give me some advice." Suddenly, it aroused the expressions of envy, jealousy and hatred on the faces of the other girls around. In a short while, the newly promoted genins in the classroom were taken away by their teachers. Some of them will pass the teacher's test and become an official ninja, while others will be beaten back to the ninja school for restudy. In the end, only Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura were left in the classroom. Time passed by, and the leader Jonin still did not show up. Naruto became a little impatient. "Hey, have you seen enough? I suggest you not read the little Lube who is called Intimacy Heaven. Try to develop some bad habits." Quote. While speaking, a pure white chakra shuriken appeared in Naruto's hand, aiming at the wall above the blackboard in the front of the classroom. A cold sweat appeared on Kakashi's forehead, who was peeping behind the wall. This is an S-level attack ninjutsu wind style. Spiral shuriken. Although it seems to be a small one, the teaching building will disappear after the full burst, and he will be even more miserable as the first target. Ha ha ha, hello everyone, I am your leader teacher Hitaki Kakashi. After a burst of awkward laughter, a white-haired man wearing a mask and dressed as a standard Konoha Jonin appeared in the sight of the three with a burst of smoke. Kakashi really wanted to observe it. Although his Tenten got along with Naruto and Sasuke, he knew them well, but he didn't know how they got along with another teammate. Now it seems that although Sasuke and Naruto don't think much of this new teammate, they are not very repulsive. And this genin, called Little Sakura, is a very standard nympho. There is nothing special about it except for a better theoretical knowledge. Kakashi's first impression of Sakura was not very good, and of course it was not too bad. Moments later, on the roof of a building, Kakashi brought Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura to this place. Then, as a team that will get along day and night, let's introduce yourself here first. As soon as Kakashi clapped his hands, he introduced himself. I am Hitaki Kakashi. I like a lot of things and I hate a lot. I don't want to say what I want to do in the future. Well, that's it, you guys introduce it like this, starting with Naruto. Bar. Uzumaki Naruto likes food and spiritual practice, and hates the insignificant and loves people who are late. Having said that, Naruto focused on Xiaolubei who Kakashi was holding. Beimao Jonin smiled awkwardly. After a pause, Naruto continued, I don't want to say anything I want to do in the future. Then there was little Sakura sitting next to Naruto introducing herself. I am Haruno Sakura, I like Sasuke, there is nothing particularly annoying, I want to. At this point, I gave Sasuke a shy look, and the meaning was self-explanatory. On the other hand, Sasuke said with a cool face, Uchiha Sasuke likes to practice with Naruto, hates a man, and wants to kill him in the future and revive the Uchiha clan. If you want to revive the family, you must first have more children. Naruto kindly reminded him, and when he finished speaking, he curled his lips to the little Sakura next to him, hinting frantically. Sasuke's face became stiff. It was his real idea to rejuvenate the family, but he really didn't think about having many children. Little Sakura froze for a moment, her cheeks flushed, but her heart roared, good job, Naruto, you will be my good buddy from now on. After that, the three of them fell silent, and the atmosphere was a bit weird for a while. Kakashi on the side smiled awkwardly, and interrupted, then, our 7th class, let's start the mission tomorrow morning, and gather at the entrance of the Hokage building at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Naruto was taken aback when he heard the words, and cast a suspicious look at Kakashi. Stop grabbing the bell, don't test the team spirit anymore. Kakashi once told Naruto that he and Obito and Lin cooperated to snatch a bell from Namikaze Minato. At this moment, seeing Naruto cast a suspicious look, Kakashi instantly understood what he was thinking. In an instant, Kakashi made up for Naruto to open Sage Mode, Kurama Mode, Wind-style chakra accelerated, and after 8 inner gates, he kicked him into the sky with one kick, and then was bombarded by countless lightning-style unicorns summoned by Sasuke. Picture. Are you still grabbing bells for these two goods? I am afraid I will die in the training ground. The Konoha traditional show, snatching bells, was rejected by Kakashi. Whether it was Naruto or Sasuke, they all looked regretful. Kakashi couldn't help but raise his hand and wipe the cold sweat from his forehead. These two guys, just tell them if you want to kill him. Only the little Sakura looked inexplicable and didn't understand what the people were talking about. However, being able to get the approval of Kakashi, the leader of the team, does not have to go through additional twists and turns, which is a good thing for Sakura after all. Is it because you have seen me before and have a good impression of me? At this time, young Sakura couldn't help but think of the white-haired Jonin who had been invited by Naruto several times during the past period of time and Sasuke paid for the party. Could it be the good impression left at that time? Involuntarily, little Sakura was a little bit happy. I have already begun to yearn for what stunts I can learn from Kakashi, the elite Jonin, and then protect Sasuke many times during the mission, win his favor, and finally the two married smoothly. As for Naruto, just take care of it. Who made him Sasuke's only friend? He will be the best man for Sasuke in the future, but he can't die so early. Then see you tomorrow and say goodbye. Kakashi waved his hand and disappeared before the eyes of several people in a flash. Then I'm going to practice, take a step first. Naruto glanced at the little Sakura and Sasuke, smiling, and then left here in a flash. By convention, a graduation celebration should be held at this moment, and a group of friends gather to celebrate the new ninja life that is about to begin. However, because the arrangements of each team are different, everyone has been busy recently, so this session was temporarily cancelled, so Naruto chose to practice. After Naruto left, Sakura looked at Sasuke expectantly. Looking forward to this cold boy, after being awakened by Naruto, he will notice her as the best candidate for his wife. But Sasuke simply said hello. Then I will go to practice, see you tomorrow, little Sakura. After that, his figure flashed and disappeared in front of little Sakura. In the end, Sakura was the only girl left on the rooftop in a mess in the wind. Sasuke was still thinking about Naruto's words before he left. Why do we need to have more children to rejuvenate the family? Isn't it that after Uchiha Sasuke defeated Naruto and became the strongest ninja in the ninja world, Uchiha's name was naturally respected by everyone, and he became a celebrity recognized and admired by everyone again? Revival of Uchiha and childbirth, is there really such a big connection? Wait, Sasuke-kun, you will be my man sooner or later, huh? With a cold snort, the girl Sakura finally turned around and left the rooftop. On the second day, Naruto practiced as usual. However, an extra shadow clone was assigned to play ninja games with his teammate, Sakura, as did Sasuke. Outside the Hokage building, the 3 members of Class 7 including Kakashi, the leading teacher, gathered. On the way, there was still some riots. Naruto saw the assistant teacher named Mizuki at the ninja school. He was scratched and bruised by the head of Anbu's torture department and was taken into Anbu. Little Sakura was very curious, but she didn't dare to ask casually. Naruto and Sasuke are not interested. Naruto is not interested because he probably knows why this person was arrested, while Sasuke is purely not interested in the weak. In the end, Kakashi took the initiative to speak and explained to Sakura. This chunin, named Mizuki, was under investigation for the suspected murder of his companion last night and instigated 3rd Hokage's grandson Konohamaru to try to steal the Book of the Seal. I was caught upright. Little Sakura nodded clearly. Sasuke is still not very interested, and even thinks that this man named Mizuki may be out of his mind. In Konoha, a powerful military unit, even the current Sasuke is not sure to run wild in it, let alone Mizuki, a weak chicken chunin. Although Sasuke has not experienced several actual battles, but Mizuki is a rookie, he asked himself that he could easily hit 9 with one finger, which was no more difficult than killing simple humans and machines in Zuin. So, where did Mizuki have the courage to do this kind of thing? And Naruto murmured in his heart, because I don't seem to be so easy to deceive, so this man named Mizuki didn't come to deceive me like in the comics, and finally chose Sarutobi Konohamaru, a stupid kid to deceive. NS. Unexpectedly, he was thrown into the net and showed his feet, hitting someone else's arms, and being chased all night, only to find that there were no other companions before he was caught by Anbu and entered Anbu. It is estimated that all the secrets will be recruited. Quote, as the first villain to appear in the comics, Naruto still has a deep impression of Mizuki. Naruto in the comics, because of his instigation to steal the Book of Seals, finally learned the forbidden technique of multiple shadow clone techniques by mistake, which became his signature skill for fighting and becoming stronger in the future. And the reason for this result is just Sarutobi Hiruzen's tricky temptation to Naruto to understand his true temperament. Is he an uncontrollable Jinchuriki, or a Konoha shinobi who can inherit the so-called will of fire? Then, based on this, I decided to treat Naruto's attitude. Naruto in the comics inherited the so-called will of fire, and naturally received the forbidden technique and multiple shadow clone techniques specially prepared for him by Sarutobi Hiruzen as a reward. In reality, Naruto, both in character and ability, are completely opposite to Naruto in the comics. Sarutobi will not use this method to test him, and if he wants to read the Book of the Seal, he will not use this method to download it, he can just ask Sarutobi Hiruzen directly. And Sarutobi Hiruzen, most likely will not refuse. It's just that he didn't want to, and didn't bother to get too much relationship with it. Watching Mizuki being taken away, the 7th group of people went to the mission hall. Under the leadership of Kakashi, the 7th squad took over the first task after becoming a ninja. D-level task, weeding a large area of crops outside Konoha village. While Naruto and Sasuke were pulling the grass for a while, Kakashi sat in a daze under the tree, and Sakura worked hard to win the attention of the beloved boy. The 7th class spent a whole morning on the D class. The task is over. You go to hand in the task, and then teach her to practice, goodbye. Naruto looked at Kakashi who had recovered from a daze almost at the same time the task was completed, and curled his lips at the small Sakura who was gasping for breath. Then, it exploded into smoke and disappeared with a bang. The same goes for Sasuke. Only the little Sakura who had been busy all morning, and Kakashi remained speechless. The amount of chakra is amazing. Seeing Naruto and Sasuke exploded into the place where the smoke disappeared, little Sakura whispered to herself in shock. Although I know that Naruto and Sasuke are very strong, they are first and second in grade after all, but the amount of chakra displayed now is far beyond the scope of the small Sakura's imagination. A shadow clone was separated, and she accompanied her to pick up ninja missions from the morning, and completed such continuous weeding missions. After that, the chakra of shadow clone still showed no signs of exhaustion. Ordinary Jonin doesn't have such a terrifying amount of chakra, right? Muttering in her heart, little Sakura couldn't help but looked at Kakashi aside. In the Hokage building, I handed in the task. Little Sakura happily got her own payment for the task. Although the money is not a lot, this is the first time she makes money on her own, so she is very happy. Kakashi glanced at the sky and smiled and said, "Then, little Sakura, let's disband for now. In the afternoon, I will show you how to practice and gather under the waterfall in the northeast of the village." "Hi," the girl responded sweetly. Involuntarily, little Sakura looked forward to the content of the afternoon practice. In the afternoon, when Haruno Sakura arrived in front of the small waterfall by appointment, Shiro-haired Jonin had already waited here one step in advance. It was also at this time that young Sakura realized that she was shocked a little earlier in the morning. Around the waterfall, there are shadow clones of Naruto and Sasuke. Some of these shadow clones are practicing chakras nature transformation and form change practice, some are practicing throwing ninja, some are fighting to increase their reaction speed, and some are simply sitting cross-legged on the ground. After a rough estimate, young Sakura found that the number of shadow clone that Naruto maintains at this moment is enough to be thousands of people. And her sweetheart Sasuke, although the size of shadow clone maintained by Naruto is not as large as Naruto, it also has half the number. Although little Sakura has never seen Naruto and Sasuke take action, just from the exaggerated number of shadow clone, the strength of the two can already be glimpsed the tip of the iceberg. That is a field far beyond her imagination, and it is very likely that she will not be able to reach it in her life. At this moment, Sakura couldn't help but look in a daze, and asked herself, a strong man like Sasuke, am I really qualified to be the woman who accompanies him? I really qualify as a member of the 7th class. And standing here, those narcissistic thoughts that emerged in my heart in the morning, and the idea of protecting two teammates after becoming stronger, all disappeared at this moment. It turns out that she is the one who needs to be protected. Ms. Kakashi, do they practice this way? In the end, little Sakura spoke bitterly, wanting to break the last trace of luck in her heart, and confirmed with Kakashi next to her. Well, they have come here since they were 5 years old. Kakashi answered in a calm tone, while observing little Sakura's expression. Although the test of grabbing the bell was cancelled, this does not mean that he has no opinion on the students. A person who gives up on his own is not qualified to be a strong one. Next, Sakura's performance will determine Kakashi's attitude towards her. Ordinary genin subordinates, or a real student. Little Sakura didn't notice Kakashi's subtle emotional changes. At this moment, she looked complicated, and there were thousands of thoughts in her mind. Some are ashamed, yearning, and unwilling. The little girl never thought that her inner emotions could be so complicated. Boom! In the spiritual world, little Sakura hit her face with a punch, and the pain made her wake up from that complicated thought. I made you a nympho before, now regret it. Why do you think so much? Since you are weak, then seize the time to become strong. If you like it, go for it. Standing in place cowardly cannot get everything you want. How can you know if you have the qualifications without trying? In the end, little Sakura made up his mind. She raised her head and looked at Kakashi seriously. Teacher Kakashi, please teach me how to practice. I have to work hard to become stronger and try to play my role in this team. I don't want to be the one who drags me down. Hi. At this moment, Kakashi's eyes softened and smiled in response. Then, without disturbing Naruto and Sasuke who were practicing there, Kakashi started teaching Sakura to climb trees and tread water. As recorded in the graduation registration materials, Sakura's chakra control is very good compared to his peers. After climbing a tree and watching Kakashi do it, he has already learned it, but he can be successful even after a few failures in treading the water. Do it. After that, Kakashi taught him in accordance with his aptitude and taught little Sakura a illusion called Naruomi technique. After successfully using this illusion, you can see the most fearful things in your heart. Little Sakura learned very quickly, and was able to successfully use this illusion in one afternoon. Such a speed is nothing compared to Naruto who can learn ninjutsu once, but it is also one of the better types among the crowd. Because of this, Kakashi experienced the joy of teaching students for the first time. Little Sakura is easy to teach. Even if you can't understand it once, it's okay to talk about it several times. This allows Kakashi as a teacher to fully appreciate the sense of accomplishment in preaching and teaching karma, but he won't explode because the students are too stupid. The result of students being too talented is often that there is no teaching experience as a teacher, and only pressure is left. In the evening, Kakashi gave a suggestion to Sakura. Your chakra control ability is good, and you have the talent to learn medical ninjutsu. Starting tomorrow, you will not only learn ninjutsu with me, but also take time to go to Konoha Library. Borrow some basic information about medical ninjutsu. After you lay some foundation, I will introduce you to a professional medical ninja to teach you more in-depth things. You also know that in this team you want to show your value, and it is a good way to be an excellent medical ninja. Quote. After thinking about it for a while, Kakashi added, in order for you to have a more abundant chakra, you also need to spare time for physical strength training. Well, let's put it in the early morning and plan your time. At this moment, because the little Sakura is full of motivation, although the learning tasks assigned by Kakashi for her are difficult, she did not give up the idea. Instead, she responded with great enthusiasm, hey, I will work hard. Quote. This makes Kakashi very pleased. During the practice, time passed. In an instant, it was already the second month that Naruto and Sasuke played ninja games with Sakura. Under the waterfall, Naruto stood with his eyes closed. From the orange eyeshadow on the corner of his eyes, it can be seen that he has entered Sage mode at this moment. Around, hundreds of shadow clones stand scattered, each holding a variety of throwing items. At a certain moment, it was as if an appointment had been made, and all the shadow clones around were moving almost at the same time. They waved their hands and turned into an afterimage, and then the surrounding space was filled with dense throwing objects. As the center of the attack, Naruto has already pushed his perception to the limit at this moment. The combination of Kagura's heart and Sage Mode's own powerful perception reflects every thrown object in the surrounding space into the bottom of my heart. The brain is running at high speed, calculating the flight trajectory of these projectiles, and also calculating how to evade and block these attacks with the smallest movements and the smallest physical energy consumption. The body is moving with real-time calculation results. In the next instant, the thrown object approached. Naruto's body dodges at a speed that surpasses ordinary people's imagination, but it is really a dodgeable projectile, so he uses two of his hands to swing up and down to block, or directly use Flying Thunder God technique to dodge. While Naruto avoided the first wave of attacks, the second wave of projectiles followed, without giving him any time to relax and breathe. Naruto has long been accustomed to this. The figure flickered like a butterfly wearing flowers, and the whole body was not stained with any dust. 3 minutes later, the throwing objects in Shadow Clone's hand were exhausted, and this nerve response speed training also came to an end at this moment. Naruto took a step forward, avoiding the last few shurikens, and finally let out a long breath. In the surrounding open space, all kinds of throwing objects are densely packed. But after Naruto scanned the whole body, he didn't find any scars on his body, so the jumpsuit was never cut by those dense throwing objects, which can rule out the possibility of wounds growing after being hit. This also showed that Naruto was unscathed, avoiding the densely enclosed projectiles that blocked almost all the space. Then, the intensive training of neural response speed is considered preliminary, and the Flying Thunder God technique can be applied to actual combat in the future. After exiting Sage Mode, Naruto sat down on the ground, panting, the sweat on his head fell like rain, and the steaming water vapor spread into the air, and the whole person seemed to be fished out of the water. With Naruto's physique, Rao also felt pain in his brain at this moment. This is a sign of overuse of the brain. The information he calculated in that short period of time just now was too large. On the side, Sasuke, who didn't know when he came over, looked at Naruto's embarrassed look, and laughed a little scornfully. Naruto, your nerve reaction speed is not good. You see, I don't need to do this kind of practice specially, I can do it to your level. If I also practiced so deliberately, I don't know how much better than you. Quote. Because during the recent period of time, through persistently exchanging chakra with Naruto, his pupil power has been continuously increased, so that the master of Susanoo, Sasuke of pupil technique, is extremely confident at this moment. While talking, Sasuke stepped aside and followed Naruto's practice just now. With hundreds of shadow clone throwing objects at him, Sasuke was in the center of the attack, and his figure was as predictable as he walked through the dense attacks. Compared with Naruto Sasuke, he used less Flying Thunder God. After a while, when the throw was over, Sasuke put Kabuto's hands in Kabuto and walked back unscathed. Then, he glanced at Naruto with a triumphant look, raised his chin. The meaning was obvious. After being pressed and beaten by Naruto for so long, Sasuke finally found a place where he is better than him. It is not good to pretend to be Mangekyo Sharingan who is really sorry for him. After taking a short rest, Naruto's strength has recovered a lot. At this moment, Naruto wasn't angry when he saw Sasuke pissing. Walking up to him, he raised his hand and clicked twice on his eyes. The pattern of sealing technique permeated. I have temporarily sealed you Sharingan, will you try again? This new sealing technique, developed by Kakashi, is used to seal Sharingan and then open it when needed. Sasuke's expression stagnated. He could feel his pupil power, but he couldn't open Sharingan, and it wasn't that he couldn't break the seal, but he didn't understand the solution, and the violent impact took about 5 minutes. Although the time is not long, this is a very deadly thing in the battle. But at this moment, Sasuke didn't get too entangled in this matter. The corners of his mouth curled up, and he believed, I don't rely on Sharingan. I also have extremely powerful neural response speed. It's easy to achieve this level. Look at it. Naruto was noncommittal and made a please gesture. 3 minutes later, Sasuke walked back with bloodstains, and Kurama provided him with chakra, the treatment of impotence. If it hadn't been forcibly breaking the seal in the end and driving Susanoo to block it, it is estimated that Sasuke would have to use infinite Izanagi at this moment to avoid death. Of course, Naruto will save him. How? Naruto's tone was calm and not taunting, but Sasuke felt hot on his cheeks. After turning off Sharingan, it showed Sasuke's true neural reflex speed. Facing the same practice as Naruto, the result was that not only he couldn't finish it calmly, but he was almost stabbed into a hedgehog by dense shurikens. Moreover, Sasuke clearly felt that without opening Sharingan, he wanted to dodge all attacks unscathed like Naruto. Even with Flying Thunder God, he couldn't do it. Not only can it not be done now, even after he specifically focuses on intensive training for neural response speed, he can't do it to this degree. Among them, there must be some knack that he didn't know. Or you or better. After babbling for a long time, Sasuke finally uttered a word. After being silent for a while, Sasuke finally calmed down and asked curiously, Naruto, how did you achieve this level? Can you tell me the trick? As Sasuke said before, after such special training, coupled with Sharingan's powerful dynamic vision blessing, his neural response speed should become faster than the current Naruto. But this is only temporary. Naruto has been drawing pupil power from him recently, and his eyes are also undergoing transformation. It should only be a matter of time before Sharingan is turned on. Anyway, I'm already ashamed. If I don't ask this practice trick, wouldn't it be even more at a loss? Regarding this, Naruto did not keep it secret. The principle of doing this is very simple, but whether it can be done is not necessarily true. Glancing at Sasuke with a curiosity on his face, Naruto spoke calmly. The speed of human neural response is roughly divided into 2 parts. The first is the instinctual response, which consists of people's ability to perceive the outside world, and muscle memory, which can be collectively referred to as intuition. In people's daily lives, they are small enough to cut vegetables with a kitchen knife and will not break the chopping board, write with a pen and will not puncture the paper. All belong to this category. The principle of intuition is that intelligent creatures make subconscious judgments based on the muscle memory accumulated by years of study and exercise, and then based on the perception of the outside world provided by the 5 sense organs. It has the advantages of occupying a small amount of brain computing power and quick response. Sasuke easily avoided the throwing objects all over the sky before, also based on this principle. His Sharingan provides strong enough dynamic vision. After looking at the flight trajectory of those throwing objects, the final landing point can be subconsciously calculated by instinct, and with the powerful body speed, it can naturally be predictable and relaxed. Avoid those throwing objects. And the second part is the subjective reaction part of people, which can be called thinking ability. That is, people receive information about the external perception ability, feed it back to the brain and then think about the result, and then the body executes the result. The advantage is that with enough reference information, you can calculate the result in advance when you start to do something, and you can know the results in daily life and battle. The disadvantage is that the reaction is slow, and the large amount of thinking and calculation can easily overload the brain, which will greatly consume the body's energy reserves. Because of this, most ninja practice is constantly strengthening their intuition and assisting with a small amount of thinking, so that they can make the most correct decisions without thinking about them in battle, so as to ensure their own survival. But the fact is that people's intuition and subjective ability are never independent, but complementary. If the ability of intuition and subjective reaction is very strong, it can naturally bring a stronger neural reflex speed, and it can also drive the brain to transform and increase wisdom in the process of using the brain in large quantities. Naruto's practice is to strengthen his subjective reaction ability based on the development of intuition. Kagura Shinyen and Sage Mode provide the ability to perceive the outside world, and then the subjective consciousness and the brain subconsciousness are accumulated to calculate the evasion route and the power that needs to be consumed. Finally, the body executes the calculation results, and finally evades all attacks. In the beginning, Naruto calculated very slowly, which also prevented him from practicing at this speed of neural response. But with the passage of time, his computing power continued to improve, and his calculation methods continued to be optimized, finally allowing him to apply subjective reaction capabilities in battle. So, today, I finally successfully completed this strengthening practice of neural response speed. This kind of subjective reaction ability, coupled with intuition, is enough to ensure that Naruto can use Flying Thunder God in battle to deal with any emergencies without being countered by the enemy. According to Naruto's estimation, if one day he can practice his subjective reaction ability to be as strong as intuition, or even more than intuition, then he can really predict all the enemy's attacks in battle. The way of sincerity can be known beforehand. Nothing more than that. After listening to Naruto's explanation, Sasuke was a big head. So, to train the subjective reaction ability, you said, you need to have a lot of mathematics and physics knowledge, but also have extremely powerful calculation ability, in order to calculate the desired information in seconds. Naruto nodded and said, calculating the desired result within 1 second can only be said to be barely qualified. If you really want to apply it to the level of invincibility in actual combat, I think at least the calculation time must be compressed to less than 0.1 second. Although that is the case, Naruto himself failed to do this. With the help of his subconscious mind, he calculated the trajectory of those thrown objects in real time with a delay of about 0.5 seconds. If he can compress the delay to less than 0.1 seconds, he can easily avoid the attacks of those throwing objects without Flying Thunder God. Quote. Sasuke, excuse me, can't do it, goodbye. Naruto stopped Sasuke, who turned to leave, and said with a smile, however, seeing the powerful dynamic vision that you just showed, I have an ninjutsu practice method that is very suitable for you to teach you. This is the lightning style ninjutsu that is more than 10 times stronger than your unicorn attack, and my vacuum field can't be defended. Quote. Sasuke was not happy, but was a little wary. What do you want me to do? Intuition tells Sasuke that Naruto is a little bit ill-intentioned at the moment. Knock your right eye down and I will use it, and I will return it to you when it's used up. Naruto smiled. If someone else talked to Sasuke like this, he would definitely turn his face away without hesitation, but it was Naruto's words. Sasuke looked at Naruto's expression carefully and made sure he was not joking at the moment. After a moment of silence, he asked, what are you going to do? Just now I was asking Naruto what he wanted to do, but now I am asking Naruto what is it doing with his eyes. In his right eye is infinite Izanagi. Is Naruto trying to do something dangerous? I want to untie the ghoul seal and release my father's soul, and take back the other half of Kurama. Then my soul will be damaged and may die, so I need your eyes to activate the infinite Yixi. Naki is free from harm. You don't have to worry about the irreversible damage you will cause when you close your eyes. You can settle in 3 seconds. Naruto explained his purpose in detail. He also made a gesture of gouging the eye, pressing it, and wiping the movement to connect the optic nerve. Sasuke listened to Naruto telling in detail about the dangers of ghoul sealing. Think about it, and then said, then there is no need to snap my eyes and put them on for you. Although you said that there is no sequelae, it will always hurt. After you seal it with ghouls, the soul will be captured by Shinigami. When you use infinite Izanagi, you can also save you from the fate of death. After all, this pupil technique is not simply used to avoid death threats, but to change an undesired fate, as long as I change your fate of being captured by Shinigami. However, the effect of using infinite Izanagi on others will eventually be discounted. After exempting death, the damage on the soul may not be erased. If this is the case, can I use this ghoul seal? If it's me, I won't get hurt after the purpose you set is achieved. I only need to consume a little pupil power at most. When Sasuke just said this, he saw that Naruto didn't know how to pull out a scroll from there, and smiled on his face. You can seal it up with ghouls. I wrote the solution in the scroll. You learn it and let's start. Sasuke. I always feel pitied. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.